welcome to another edition of Sam Houston State University football. Today from Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches, it's the Bearcats taking on the Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin State University. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rod Sydlik, and I'll be bringing you the play-by-play of this afternoon's game from Nacogdoches. Alongside me today, my partner Dan Bonner. And Dan, an exciting game, an arch rivalry, the 62nd meeting between these two teams. Always a good matchup when the Bearcats and the Lumberjacks get together.
That's right, Rod. It is going to be a tough matchup today. The Bearcats are coming into this game with a 5-3 overall record, 2-1 in Southland Conference play, whereas Lumberjacks and Stephen F. Austin are coming into the game with a 3-4-1 overall, and in Southland Conference action, they're coming in 1-2. So the Bearcats they're having somewhat of a better season, and the Bearcats also have come off two impressive victories. One over Lamar University and the other coming last week against Northwestern State. Both of those games, the first one against Lamar, Sam Houston won that one 34-21. They had a lot of penalties in that game, but they still managed to come out victorious. Then last week against Northwest Louisiana, they really pounded Northwest. It came out 34-7 in that win. And the Lumberjacks are coming off a tough loss to North Texas State Eagles, where they played here at home, and they lost that one just barely by a score of 14-16. So you have to take the past games into perspective, but also it doesn't matter how each of these teams' seasons are going. They're always going to play each other real tough, whether it's here in Nacogdoches or in Huntsville. And according to Coach Ron Randleman, he was looking for a very low-scoring game and a very tough game.
Well, you know, Dan, the main key element in this game, Sam Houston comes in #1 ranked offense in the Southland Conference. The Lumberjacks come into today's conference with the #1 defense in the conference. So you have strength against strength. The Bearcats probably, as Coach Randleman said, will not be able to put points on the board like they have done so this season so far. They are facing probably the best defense that they have seen all season.
That's right, Rod. Now, one thing I want to mention, you say that the Bearcats are coming into this game with the #1 ranked offense in the Southland Conference, and on the other side of the coin, this is going to be one of the toughest defenses that the Bearcats have faced all season. But on the other side of the coin, Sam Houston State, the Bearcats have somewhat of a cloud of controversy hanging over their team right now. Two of their players this week were arrested and charged with alleged controlled substance possession. One of those players being number 32, Jerry Rodney on offense, and then for the defense, one of the key players on their defense, number 22, Odie Harris. And on the defense, they have number 19, Meldon Mickles, to back up Odie Harris. They come in about the same measurement in height. They're the same. Meldon Mickles even had 20 pounds on Odie Harris, so that's not going to be too much of a loss as much as the Jerry Rodney loss, because now with J.J. Middleton out, it's really going to hit the Bearcats hard. But then they've also got Billy Anderson coming in on defense, and has had 4 interceptions just the past 2 games. So it's really going to be up in the air on the defense for the Bearcats.
And you mentioned the fact that Jerry Rodney out after the incident, and a key element there, because with JJ out, as you mentioned, with Daryl Montgomery and Jerry Rodney were supposed to share that duty at fullback. Rodney has been very successful the last 2 years for Sam Houston, catching the ball out of the backfield. Now, taking a look at Stephen F. Austin, they are under the direction of 6-year head coach Jim Hess. He has a record of 37-24-2 at Nacogdoches, and he's 2-3 against Sam Houston. Hess moved to Stephen F. Austin from Angelo State University, where in 1978 his Angelo State Rams rolled to the NAIA National Championship with a 14-0 record. Stephen F. Austin and Sam Houston played the first Gulf Star Conference game ever. Bearcats winning that one 20-7 at Huntsville's Pritchett Field back in '84. And last season, 30-26, Bearcats on top in that one, and the remarkable play, 39-yard diving TD catch by Ricky Eggleston with only seconds to go in that game. A very impressive win for Sam Houston last year, and it should be another good one this year.
It should be, Rod. You know, people, when you see 2 schools come up like this that have had a lot of meetings, you look for one of the elements to be, what's the win-loss ratio here? And obviously Sam Houston holds a considerable margin over the Lumberjacks in the win category, where it's 35-24-2 advantage over the Lumberjacks. But like I said before, when these 2 teams meet, it's such a big rivalry that the past records don't really come into play that much.
Taking a look at Lumberjacks to watch out for today's game. Quarterback Todd Hamill has been on the winning end of 2 of the 3 games he started. He threw for 467 yards and 1 touchdown since returning to the lineup against Nicholls State. Michael Horace ranks 4th among conference rushers, 487 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Melvin Patterson is 6th in the Southland Conference in receptions with 24 catches for 369 yards. As Jerome Heim is about to tee it up as the Bearcats won the toss but elected to take the wind here as the wind is swirling through Homer Bryce Stadium. Running back Larry Centers of Stephen F. Austin leads the conference in all-purpose yardage, so a lot of weapons for Stephen F. Austin this afternoon. Kickoff from Jerome Heim will come deep in the end zone. It will be taken there in the end zone by 22. That's Calvin Neal. He will down it, and the Lumberjacks will come out on offense 1st and 10.
And taking a look at the Lumberjacks starting offense, number 65, tight tackle Gary Pavetto, number 70, Spencer at tight guard, Spencer Leftwich. At center, number 52, Jeff Jackson. Split guard, number 61, Bo Alexander. Split tackle, number 59, Greg Bryant. Wide receiver, number 17, Chris Edwards. Starting at quarterback, number 5, Todd Hamill. It's starting at tight end, number 89, Brad Barfield. Starting at running back, number 37, Larry Centers.
Handoff goes straight up the middle, short yardage, perhaps only 1 yard on the play. Off the bottom of the pile, carrying the ball, 37, Larry Center, the sophomore, 1-year letterman out of Tatum, Texas, on the carry. Give him 1 yard on the play and bring up 2nd down and 9.
And that's one thing, Rod, that the Bearcats are going to have to do today is shut down the Lumberjack running game, because the Lumberjacks have been having some problems with their passing game. They're going to rely heavy on the running game today, and if the Bearcats can shut that down, I think they've got a good shot at it.
Edwards and Melvin Patterson are both split wide to the left side. Now the pitch back comes to the backfield. Larry Centers breaks off a couple tackles, has good yardage up close to 1st down territory. Mark him about a yard short of the 1st down. Will bring up a 3rd and short.
One thing, Rod, I know that Coach Hess of the Lumberjacks has been viewing the tapes of the Bearcats, and he's got to be a little bit leery of number 85, Billy Anderson, with the 4 interceptions that he's had here in the past 2 games.
Melvin Patterson is wide to the left side. Chris Edwards wide to the right. Handoff will go straight up the middle. That's Larry Centers. He should just have enough yardage for the 1st down. Taking a look at the Sam Houston State defense.
Okay, starting at weekend is number 53, Huey Blackman. Starting at left tackle, number 98, Mike Ober. Starting at right tackle, number 97, Marvin Brown. Starting at strong end, number 59, Andre Finley. Starting at strong linebacker, number 43, Leish Adams, the man with the most tackles on that defense. Starting at free safety, 85, Billy Anderson. Strong safety is 13, Delrich Gay. Weak cornerback, number 26, Ricky Royal. And starting at weak linebacker, number 27, check that, Tale Royal.
Handoff goes straight up the middle, 37, Larry Centers on the carry. Roger Johnson, the middle linebacker, senior 3-year letterman from Houston Cypress Fairbanks, up to make the tackle for Sam Houston. Clock runs 2 minutes, 58 seconds to go 1st quarter as we're just underway from Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches. The Lumberjacks operate 2nd down and 9, ball at the 31-yard line. And now Hamill will look to throw, has a man. Ball is overthrown, intended for Brad Barfield, the tight end, junior 2-year letterman out of Pasadena. Rayburn High School. Ball was just overthrown by Hamill.
That's one thing we were talking about, that the Lumberjacks passing game is not as established as a running game. And just right there, when you overthrow a ball right there and you've got a free safety like Billy Anderson, who just kind of plays back in the middle right there as a free safety does, he's able to come up, and with his speed, as we've seen in previous games, he has the speed and the ability to come up and pick off a lot of overthrown balls like that.
3 receivers to the left now. 17, Chris Edwards comes in motion. Straight back to throw is Todd Hamill. Looking across the middle, has a man. It's complete out across the 40-yard line. Number 80, Melvin Patterson on the reception. Tackled by a whole host of Sam Houston Bearcats secondary defenders. So just as we mentioned, the Lumberjack passing game not coming in here, we heard that it was not hasn't done well this season passing the ball. A nice pass that time by Todd Hamill.
That's right. Look for Todd Hamill, and coach has to work on number 19, the strong cornerback, Meldon Mickles.
And the ball straight up the middle. That's Larry Sinners. He will be into Bearcat territory and close to another Lumberjack first down. And right now, the Lumberjack running game is looking real impressive here in the first quarter.
And look at me, Rod, on that play, he ran into his own man. To be number 17 was blocking Meldon Mickles and had a little just miscommunication down there.
Chris Edwards goes wide to the left side. Melvin Patterson is wide to the right. I formation. Michael Horace is the fullback. Larry Sinners is the tailback. And the ball to Sinners. Sinners breaks off a couple tackles. Nice open field tackle. 13, Delridge Gay up from his strong safety spot to make the tackle. But the sophomore, one-year letterman out of Tatum, Texas, is finding big holes in that Bearcat defense, and that's another Lumberjack first down. '37 Reginald Oakes checks in at defensive end for Sam Houston. First and 10, spot the ball at the 36-yard line in Sam Houston territory. Todd Hamill operates at quarterback. Patterson wide left, Edwards wide right. And this ball straight up the middle. Larry Sinners, big yardage once again. Billy Anderson, Delridge Gay combined on the stop, but 12 yards on the carry and another Lumberjack first down. Lumberjack running game eating up big chunks of real estate here in the first quarter. So the clock runs with 11 minutes to go. First quarter action from Homer Bryce Stadium. It is homecoming here at Stephen F. Austin. As Patterson is wide to the left side, Edwards is wide to the right. Tight end Barfield tight to the right. I formation as Hamill will go play action. Now roll it out, looking, has a man wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown, Melvin Patterson. 24 yards the pass on the rollout. Todd Hamill to Melvin Patterson, and the Lumberjacks go up with 10 minutes, 41 seconds to go in the first quarter, 6-0.
Well, Rodney, we've seen this, time and time again. The Bearcats come out against somebody that the first drive is usually the best drive, most impressive drive that we'll see by an opponent against the Bearcats is their first one of the game. The Bearcats often start out slow like this, and on that particular play, it looked like some miscommunication in the Bearcat secondary because Billy Anderson had to come over from his free safety position to try to make up ground.
David Jones' extra point attempt is up, and it is good. So with 10 minutes, 41 seconds to go here in the first quarter, the Lumberjacks strike first blood here in the Piney Woods War. They lead it over Sam Houston 7-0.
In Their Time, a show featuring 6 great Americans who have influenced our country in the post-World War II era. Host Mike Nagy interviews noted scholars on the impact of these Americans Wednesday nights at 7:30 here on Channel 7.
So that time, 80 yards on the drive by Stephen F. Austin. They go the length of the field. It took them 5 minutes, a little over 5 minutes in that drive. Real impressive as they totally dominated on the line of scrimmage. They were blowing the Bearcat defensive line right off the ball.
Well, as I said a minute ago, Rod, if you'll recall, against Lamar University in Beaumont, Lamar came out and they just marched it right down the field on the Bearcats, but that was all they had. The Bearcats they snapped after that and came back and shut down almost everything Lamar had. So don't look for the Bearcats to just be asleep the rest of the game.
Now the Bearcats have been notorious for giving up first drives. They did win the toss and elected to kick off to Stephen F. Austin, taking the win as the wind now is blowing from out of the south to the north here at Homer Bryce Stadium. So the Bearcats will be going with the wind here in the first, and they will have it in the fourth quarter as well. Back deep, Victor Henry and Ricky Davis to receive the kickoff.
This is one of the areas that the Bearcats have to concentrate on. Coach Ron Randleman was commenting that they are getting better. They started out the season on the special teams not too impressive. As a matter of fact, he was real upset about the way things were working out with the special teams. But he said today that they have been progressing, as we've seen all season, and they were relying heavily on what their special team units can put out.
Steve Merca to kick it off for Stephen F. Austin. He hammers it deep. Ricky Davis at the 8. Returns up across the 20. Now looks for a hole. He will be knocked down short of the 30-yard line. So that's where Reggie Lewis and the Bearcat offense will operate 1st and 10.
And taking a look at the Bearcats starting offense, starting at quarterback will be number 10, Reggie Lewis. Starting at fullback, number 45, Daryl Montgomery. Tailback, number 33, Luther Turner. Starting at flanker, number 30, Victor Henry. Starting at tight end, number 84, Ricky Eggleston. Starting at right tackle, number 76, Jeff Kirby. Starting at right guard, number 68, Brian White. And starting at center, number 57, David Elam. Starting at left guard, number 54, Walter Fortune. And starting at left tackle, number 72, Chris Herman.
And the flea flicker, and the ball is picked off. 32 is Bruce Alexander, returns it back across the 30 now, breaks a couple of tackles, and will be dragged down at the 11-yard line.
But hold the phones, Rod. There was a flag on the play, and that could bring it all back.
I think that Keith Willis got bumped on the play. He was the intended receiver. I believe the strong safety, George Redmond that time, or one of the SFA defensive backs, will be called for pass interference because Keith Willis was bumped as he cut across just at midfield. The flag was thrown. So the penalty will work against the Lumberjacks. A big break that time as the ball was underthrown. So the call will go against Stephen F. Austin for defensive holding. That will constitute an automatic first down. So spot the ball up to the 39-yard line in Bearcat territory, and the Bearcats operate 1st and 10 as they tried a little trickery running that flea flicker reverse.
A little bit chancy coming off the first play.
Bearcats go with double wide receivers. Now Victor Henry goes in motion far side of the field. Hand the ball straight up the middle. Fullback Daryl Montgomery will have about 4 yards on that play. Off the bottom of the pile, number 60, Vince Adams. Vince Adams, and he got help from 96, Eric Loki, the middle linebacker on that play for Stephen F. Austin. Henry goes wide to the left side. Keith Willis is the wide receiver wide to the right. I formation, Montgomery and Luther Turner. Now Ricky Eggleston shifts to a tight end on the left side. Hand the ball off to Turner. Turner looking for room to operate, will get up close to midfield. He will be about a yard short of the first down. Will bring up a 3rd down and 1. Taking a look at the Stephen F. Austin defense, the left end is number 90, Eric King. 92, David Gibbs, the left tackle. Number 60, Vance Adams is the right tackle. Right end is Keith Melcher. Left side linebacker, Carlton Walker. Middle linebacker, 96, Eric Loki. Bobby Henry, 35, operates at right linebacker. Now the Bearcats go double tight end set. Pitch the ball back to Luther Turner, breaks off a couple of tackles, and good effort that time as Luther Turner was hit in the backfield, but as he so often does, bounces off and gets the first down.
That's right, Rod. As we always say before, you can't arm tackle Luther Turner. He's a man that's got to be brought down with a hard hit, and I'm sure Coach Ron Randall is going to be relying heavily on Luther Turner today, as Daryl Montgomery we can't downplay Daryl Montgomery, but he's a good blocker, but he's probably not quite the back that J.J. Middleton is.
So 1st and 10, spot the ball in the 46-yard line in Lumberjack territory. Now Lewis looking to throw, has a man wide open. That's Ricky Eggleston. He's across the 20. He may go. He will be into the end zone for the touchdown. 47 yards, Reggie Lewis to Ricky Eggleston. And that time, Dan, wide open Ricky Eggleston.
Definitely somebody had a mixed up communication, a mixed up job on what they were supposed to do on that play, because there was nobody within 20 yards of Ricky Eggleston. He was all by himself.
Good to see the passing game unofficially, 46 yards. Ricky Eggleston from Reggie Lewis, as Bart Bradley will hold for Billy Hayes.
And that's one of the reasons this Bearcat offense is ranked #1 in the Southland Conference.
Extra point attempt is up and good. So with 8 minutes, 31 seconds to go here in the first quarter, it's now Stephen F. Austin 7, Sam Houston 7.
Find out why over 5,000 young men and women have pledged fraternities and sororities at Sam Houston State University. Join host Chris Bianco for a look at fraternities on Cable Channel 7 every Monday night at 9:30. Hey kids, join us here on Cable Channel 7 for Kids Corner, the show where each time we learn something fun and exciting. And that's also on Monday. It's on Monday mornings at 9 o'clock.
So fireworks here in the first quarter from Homer Bryce Stadium. 46 yards, Reggie Lewis to Ricky Eggleston on the first drive for Stephen F. Austin. 24 yards, Todd Hamill to Melvin Patterson. Both offenses, Dan, for a game that we were supposed to see a lot of defense, so far we've seen the offenses really moving at will.
Well, that's true, Rod. Keep in mind also the wind has died down somewhat here, and that's one of the reasons Coach Ron Randleman was saying that there was not going to be a lot of high scoring. Also, the tensions are high a little bit here. Wait for everybody to get settled down a little bit. Obviously, something wasn't following into form right there because the Sam Houston is supposed to be able to shut the run down very effectively. And on the other side of the coin, this Stephen F. Austin defense is supposed to be one of the toughest defenses that the Bearcats have faced this season. And here we see, you know, right off the bat, they make a scoring strike, as did the Lumberjacks. So look for things to tone down just a little bit here.
A very, very large crowd filing into Homer Bryce Stadium. There are people now sitting on the grass portions out of the stand. It is homecoming, and they were expecting in excess of 14,000. This place holds about a little over 14,000 people. They were expecting more around 15 or 16,000 to pack the grass around the stadium, and it is starting to fill up. As Jerome Heim nails it, and the ball will be fumbled in the end zone. It will be downed and brought out to the 20-yard line for Stephen F. Austin. Roland Dooms, a backup defensive back, downs it in the end zone. So Todd Hamill and the Stephen F. Austin State University Lumberjack offense comes onto the field. Once again, they will start at their own 20.
And keep in mind, Rod, that the Lumberjacks, I'm watching for them to start working on number 19. Meldon Mickles is playing in place of Odie Harris.
Patterson is matched up over here on the near sidelines against Meldon Mickles as the handoff goes straight up the middle. That's Larry Centers. Give him 5 yards on the play as Marvin Brown up from his defensive tackle spot to make the tackle for Sam Houston. So second down and 5, ball at the 25-yard line. Edwards is wide to the right side. Melvin Patterson is wide to the left. Now Hamill will run the option, turn it upfield. He will be close to first down yardage up at the 30-yard line. 19, Meldon Mickles up from his secondary spot to make the tackle. First and 10, Stephen F. Austin.
On this drive, Rod, the Bearcats have really got to try to shut that running game down somewhat of the Lumberjacks, because they're going to rely on that heavily during the course of this game. And the Bearcats have got to establish themselves on this drive.
Hand the ball off. Larry Centers once again bounces off a couple of tackles. He will go for about 3 yards on that play. Take him up to about the 33-yard line. So Melvin Patterson is wide to the left side. Derek Wright, wide to the right. Split backs now handed off to Centers. Finds a hole, nice open field tackle. 26 ticket Ricky Royal up from his cornerback spot to make the hit on Centers. He will be about 4 yards short of the first down, and it'll be third down. Take a look at the secondary for Sam Houston. Meldon Mickles operates at strong side cornerback. Weak side cornerback Ricky Royal. The strong safeties Delrich Gay. Billy Anderson operates at free safety. The linebackers, Leish Adams on the strong side, 43, 35, Roger Johnson in the middle, and Tolly Royal, 27 at the weak side linebacker position. Third down and three wide receivers. Now Hamill looking to throw, has a man. Ball intended for Larry Sinners, almost picked off for the Bearcats. Number 46 for Sam Houston, Don Clem, a linebacker, freshman from Garland, playing back in pass coverage, almost had himself an interception. So Steve Merca, the junior transfer from Pflugerville, is back to punt, hangs up a nice high punt, and it will take a Bearcat roll and go out of bounds in Lumberjack territory just across the midfield stripe. So now good field position for the Bearcats to work with 6:05 to go in the first quarter.
And that's exactly what the Bearcat defense had to do, Rod. They had to come down here, absolutely shut down the Lumberjack offense, and more specifically, shut that running game down, force them to punt into the wind. And as we saw right there, the ball got up there, it had a good hang time, the wind caught it and pushed it back, and then the ball, to add bad to words, the ball takes a Bearcat bounce. So that's exactly what the Bearcats need to establish themselves and get this game toned out.
Hand the ball straight up the middle. Daryl Montgomery, flag is down as Montgomery will have about 6 yards on the play. Flag was thrown by the side judge. David Whitmore, the free safety, up to make the stop as the penalty will go against Stephen F. Austin. Offsides against Stephen F. Austin, so Bearcats will have to make a decision here. They will probably take the penalty, as they will take the penalty and get to repeat first down. So 1st and 5, spot the ball at the 44-yard line in Lumberjack territory as James Lopez checks into the ball game and Keith Willis comes over to the near sidelines.
You know, Rod, that's one thing that we haven't seen anything. It's still early in the game. We haven't seen the Bearcats draw any penalties, but as we have in previous games. It really has hurt them.
Now, they have penalized 75 yards worth of penalties in the first half against Northwestern State last week as play action by Reggie Lewis. Now running out of time, scrambles, has Victor Henry, and he drops the football. Nice scramble that time by Reggie Lewis, and I think that time Victor Henry just tried to turn up field and run before he had the football.
That's right, Ron. That really is a shame because usually we're so accustomed to seeing Reggie Lewis get put under some heavy pressure and have a tendency to throw in a crowd. That time he kept his composure and hit Victor Henry right on the numbers, and like you said, I think Victor may have just tried to run before he got the ball.
As he tried to turn upfield, there's a Lumberjack shaken up over on the far sideline. Number 90, left end Eric King Jr., transfer from Killeen, Texas, is down on the turf. Now he is up and walking around, will come out of the ball game.
You know, Rob, one thing we might want to mention is Coach Hess said today in an interview that talking about Reggie Lewis being a devastating quarterback, that he's dangerous on the design plays, but it's when the design play breaks down that he is the most dangerous, because when he gets out of there, he's got that superb scrambling ability.
And he has a tendency to make things happen in that situation. So 2nd down and 5, ball at the 44-yard line. Now Lewis will look to throw, now back off. Has a man, the ball is caught. Ricky Eggleston pulls his way across the 30, stays on his feet, and goes inside the 25 to about the 23-yard line. And that time the junior two-year letterman out of Dayton caught the pass as it was almost knocked away and carried a few tacklers with him.
You really got to credit Ricky Eggleston on that reception, Rod, because he caught that ball. He had to come off balance, reach around behind him, catch the ball, and then continue his spin and run with the ball. So, and not to downplay Reggie Lewis any on the pass, because he was definitely under pressure that time.
Willis wide to the left side, James Lopez wide to the right. I formation, Montgomery, Luther Turner, 1st and 10, ball at the 23-yard line in Lumberjack territory. Hand the ball straight up the middle to the fullback. That's Daryl Montgomery. Give him about 2, maybe 3 yards on the play. The Bearcat offense really moving well here in the first quarter, as both drives they have moved consistently down the field against this defense that Coach Ron Randleman in an interview said today that was probably the toughest defense he would face all year.
That's right, and everybody's playing up the Bearcat passing game, playing up. Coach Ron Randleman said, that's right, we do have a strong passing game, but we've got to establish our running game because without a running game, you don't have anything.
Movement on the interior line, flags are down. The Lumberjacks are porting towards Sam Houston, and the call is offside, Stephen F. Austin. So another break for Sam Houston, mark off 5 yards on that play. As it appears one of the Lumberjack defensive linemen moved on the play.
Well, Rod, I'm really impressed with the way the Bearcats are holding their composure, not drawing the penalties. In previous games, it seems that by now we would have seen at least 2 or 3 penalties on the Bearcats, as we've seen on the Lumberjacks during this first quarter of play.
So the Bearcats will operate 1st and 10, ball at the 12-yard line. Play action, Reggie Lewis looking, now is under pressure, gets away from a couple of tacklers, stays on his feet, throws it out of the back of the end zone. And a nice play that time as Reggie Lewis was scrambling for his life back there, and a good play just to be able to throw that ball away.
That's right, and that's exactly what we just mentioned a while ago. When the design play breaks down, watch out for Reggie Lewis because he is a hard man to bring down, as we saw right there. 1, 2, 3 missed tackles, and he still gets the ball off. Granted, he threw it out of the end zone, through and out of the end zone, which was a heads-up ball to just get that ball away and avoid the sack.
Clock stop, 4:01 to go, first quarter. Keith Willis wide to the left side, Victor Henry wide to the right, 2nd down and 10, ball at the 12-yard line. Hand the ball straight up the middle. Daryl Montgomery will be inside the 10 to about the 9, give him 3 yards on the play, but it's going to bring up a 3rd down and long situation here deep in Lumberjack territory. So 3rd and 7, spot the ball out at the 9.
You know, Rod, this seems like a classic time to see Luther Turner get the ball, the man that can't stop those legs from moving.
Look for Luther Turner on the pitch, or perhaps even the rollout play where Reggie Lewis has the option, but he will go straight back to throw. Now scramble out of the pocket, gets away, now goes to the far side of the field, has room to operate, now will turn it upfield and will be brought down. 91 on the play for the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks.
Well, credit the Lumberjack secondary for that sack, Rod. They gave Reggie Lewis no one to throw to, and you can't really say that this sack should go to the line because the secondary shut down the receivers, gave Reggie nothing to throw to, and if you stay back there long enough, somebody's going to get to you. I don't care who you are.
And that time it was Julius Smith who had came in as an extra linebacker. Billy Hayes spotted at the 22, so 32-yard attempt out of the hole to Bart Bradley. Field goal attempt is up, and it is good. So a break in the action with 2 minutes and 43 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Your new score, Sam Houston 10, Stephen F. Austin 7.
Exciting East Texas high school football every week here on Channel 7. Follow the Huntsville Hornets throughout the 1987 season. Highlights and interviews with Coach Clements every week on Channel 7. Plan to watch Cable Channel 7 for local entertainment, information, news, and sports. Get in Shape is a health magazine for the fit and the not so fit. There will be many topics such as running, biking, general fitness, and others. Each show will offer aerobics and a segment of exercise for the handicapped and elderly. Join us on Cable Channel 7 Mondays at 7 p.m.
So a nice drive that time as the Bearcats take the ball and go about 35 yards on the drive and end up settling for the 32-yard field goal for Billy Hayes, who's been kicking the ball really well as he had the 54-yarder last week, a personal and school best at Bearcat Stadium as he kicked it 54 yards against Northwestern State. So Jerome Heim has it teed up. A wobbly kick will be fumbled now and recovered for the Lumberjacks. 23 on the play, Marvin Davis, a backup fullback, takes the ball. And the Lumberjacks will operate in poor field position at the 16.
And Rob, the special teams are doing exactly what Coach Ron Randleman's looking for. They're having an excellent game today. The best the Lumberjacks have been able to start with is at their own 20-yard line, and this time they're starting at their, call it the 15 and a half. So special teams really showing their colors today for the Bearcats.
Edwards and Patterson both to the left side. As the quarterback keeps the ball, will be out across the 40-yard line to the 42, and that time Todd Hamill hit the ball well as he bootlegged it around the right side.
I don't think anyone on the Bearcat check that the defense actually knew where the ball was except number 98, Mike Ober. For the Bearcats, he was the only one that was in pursuit until the quarterback for Lumberjacks, number 5, Todd Hamill, is somewhere around, say, the 35.
He faked the handoff, put it on his hip, and held the ball quite well. Now Edwards and Patterson are both split wide to the right side. 1st and 10 ball at the 42-yard line. Todd Hamill now once again will fake it. He is under pressure, gets the ball away, intended for Melvin Patterson, overthrown, and it will bring up the 2nd down and 10. So clock stop, 2:19 to go. Here in the first quarter from Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches, Stephen F. Austin operates 2nd and 10 from the 42-yard line. Melvin Patterson goes wide to the left side as Chris Edwards is wide to the right. Now Hamill on the quarterback draw. We will be into Bearcat territory, turn it upfield. 85, Billy Anderson up from his free safety spot to make the tackle. But that time a huge hole for Todd Hamill, and he makes it good for good yardage and another Lumberjack 1st down. So surprising, as well as the Bearcat defense has played against the run in the last few weeks, they are giving up huge chunks of real estate in that running game.
That's right, Robin. As we said earlier in the game, that's what Stephen F. Austin, that's their primary tool on offense, is a running game.
Patterson to the left, Edwards to the right. Hand the ball straight up the middle. Larry Sinners tripped up in the backfield. 46, Don Klim.
One thing, Rod, if you'll notice on this particular drive, the big gains on the ground now have come both from the quarterback for the Lumberjacks, Todd Hamill, and he's acting like he's dropping back into the pocket. He gets about halfway, stops, and just runs right up the line. I think it's catching the Bearcats off guard.
So now the Lumberjacks operate 2nd down and 9. Now once again, fake it. Hamill has a man open. That's Melvin Patterson. He will be out of bounds complete at the 15-yard line, and that time he got behind secondary coverage and makes the big gain.
And Rod, if you'll also notice who he got behind, whose horn we were trumping at the beginning of this ball game, number 85, Billy Anderson. Billy got severely burned on that play.
So the 2nd time today that Melvin Patterson goes for big yardage for Stephen F. Austin. Clock stop with 1:02 to go, 1st quarter. Patterson goes wide to the left side. Chris Edwards is wide to the right. I formation behind Todd Hamill. Now once again, he will fake it, hand it off up the middle. Larry Sinners once again takes the carry up to about the 10-yard line. And you know, Dan, Todd Hamill is hiding that ball well in this Lumberjack offense. It is hard to tell when he's keeping it and when he's handing it off. Patterson goes wide to the left side with Chris Edwards wide to the right. I formation. Hand the ball off. Larry Sinners is looking for the end zone. He is going to be in for the touchdown. So from 10 yards out, Larry Sinners puts the Lumberjacks in front.
All righty, you know what? It all seems to always go against the grain of what we said, and we heard it right from the mouth of Coach Ron Randleman. He predicted this would be a low-scoring game, and here we've seen every drive, except one drive by the Lumberjacks, we've had scoring on every drive so far this game. who knows what it is? It could be because of just, you know, the sheer fact that it's this rivalry, the excitement in the air by the crowd. Who knows? And we do have a Bearcat player down in the end zone from the particular play.
I believe
it looks to be number
27.
27. We can find out.
Tolly Royal.
Tolly Royal. That's the man that was down for the Bearcats. Good to see that he's walking off.
He took a shot that time as Centers got into the end zone. So the Lumberjacks, who came into today's game supposedly with a lack of offense, has put 13 quick points on the board with the extra point attempt to come. 14 points in the first quarter for Stephen F. Austin. We really did not expect that kind of scoring ability out of the Lumberjack offense, as the extra point attempt by David Jones is up, and it is good. So with 23 seconds to go in the first quarter, your new score, Stephen F. Austin 10, or check it, Stephen F. Austin 14, Sam Houston 10.
Variety Showcase, the show that glistens with local entertainers. Variety Showcase only on cable channel 7. The madcap adventures of Alan, Roach, and Nigel down in their little corner of the world known as Wits End. That's Wits End on cable channel 7 Monday nights at 8 o'clock.
So with 23 seconds to go here in the first quarter, Sam Houston on the short end of a 14-10 score here at Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches. Rod Sydlik along with Dan Bonner here, bringing you all the action of Bearcat football. And the Bearcats, who were coming into today's game supposedly with the top offense and Stephen F. Austin with the top defense, but so far it has been the Stephen F. Austin offense, as they have only been stopped once, and they have eaten up large chunks of real estate here in the first quarter.
That's true, Rob, but then you have to look at the other side of the coin. The Bearcat offense has not been stopped. They've had the ball 2 times. They've scored on both drives.
So should we trash our opening statement about a low-scoring affair?
I think we should.
As the kickoff by Merca is taken by Ricky Davis, now looking for a hole, tries to get up through it. A nice play over here on the near sidelines off the bottom of the pile for the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks from number 38 on the play. That's George Redmond, a defensive back. So the Bearcats will operate 1st and 10, spot the ball at the 34-yard line. Reggie Lewis is the quarterback. Montgomery and Turner are the setbacks. Willis and Henry are the wide receivers. Now Lewis looking to throw, has a man, ball is complete. Keith Willis out across the 50-yard line into Lumberjack territory, and that time a nice strike as that ball was perfectly thrown by Reggie Lewis.
It sure was, Rodney. You couldn't have asked for a better pitch or a pass by Reggie Lewis. The ball Keith was running at full stride right to the sidelines, made the reception, I'd say a yard from the sideline, with a defender running or making a play for the ball right in front of him, and Keith Willis still managed to come up with the reception. And that is, by the way, one of Reggie Lewis's favorite receivers to go to is number 81, Keith Willis.
Hand the ball off to Luther Turner. He will have short yardage, perhaps 2 yards on the play off the bottom of the pile for Stephen F. Austin. Will be number 78. That's Mervyn Jones, who has checked in at a defensive line spot. 2 yards on the play, 2nd down and 8, ball on the 26-yard line, or check at the 46-yard line, as we have come to the end of the first quarter of play from Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches. After 15 minutes of play, it's Stephen F. Austin 14, Sam Houston 10.
Well, Rod, if you're Coach Ron Randleman, what do you think right now? He came into this game not expecting a big passing offense from the Lumberjacks. Instead, he came in here anticipating a strong attack by their ground game, which they've shown, and the Bearcats haven't been able to shut them down. So what do you do? What do you go into the locker room at halftime and tell your team when obviously that's what you were telling them from the week before in preparation for the game?
Well, the Bearcats are going to just have to tighten up in their defensive secondary. I think Hamilton is, the Bearcat defense is having a lot of trouble with the reads. I don't think that they're reading the quarterback, which is one of the keys to playing defense, is being able to read from the action off the ball, off the snap of the football, what's going on. I think that once the Bearcats start recognizing what Hamill is doing off the snap of the football, they will be able to react a little bit better. And another thing, Todd Hamill had been injured and had just come back, and I think he's a better quarterback than a lot of people think. I think injuries have hampered his performance more than probably anything else. Maybe Hamill is just coming into his own here today.
And one other thing, not to keep harping on, because certainly we don't like to keep talking about something like this, but on the part of the Bearcats, do you think that team morale could be low right now, stemming from the incidents with Larry Waddy and Odie Harris? Do you think that could have any kind of effect on the morale of the team today?
Well, it could possibly, but I think that these guys know what their jobs are. I've talked to Coach Randleman, and he says that, the guys, they understand, but he says that his team will not have a problem getting up for today's game. I think once they got on the field, all they have on their minds is playing football. I think they've just been surprised because the offensive line for Stephen F. Austin has been opening big holes, and the Bearcat defense is going to have to fill those holes. 46-yard line, Bearcats have it. As now the reverse, Victor Henry now will be in trouble and breaks a couple of tackles. He will be inside the 30-yard line, and that time, two of the defensive linemen for Stephen F. Austin blew a chance to stop Victor Henry for no gain as Henry goes for big yardage down inside the 30-yard line.
Well, Victor really turned it on when he went around that corner. You're a defensive lineman. If you don't have extremely long arms or exceptional speed for defensive linemen, it's going to be hard to catch Victor Henry, which he showed right there. He just blew around the corner out of the reach of the lineman.
1st and 10, spot the ball at the 29-yard line in Lumberjack territory. The Bearcat offense has moved very efficiently as they have scored on each of their first two drives. Pitch the ball, Luther Turner breaks a couple of tackles, will go inside the 25-yard line. 32, Bruce Alexander, with help from 43, David Whitmore on the stop for Stephen F. Austin. Give him a gain of 6 yards and bring up a 2nd down and 4. As Tim Rome and Keith Willis check out of the ball game as James Lopez goes wide to the left side. Double tight end set on the 2nd down and 4 play. 2nd quarter action. Reggie Lewis operates at quarterback. Montgomery, the fullback. Luther Turner, the tailback. And the ball straight up the middle, and nowhere goes Daryl Montgomery. Hit on the play by David Gibbs, the left tackle, and a whole host of defensive linemen for Stephen F. Austin. So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 4, ball at the 23. As the Bearcats now going against the wind here in the 2nd quarter. They will send one wide receiver to the left side and go with the I formation. Now Reggie Lewis under pressure. He will be sacked. 35 on the play. Bobby Henry from his right side linebacking spot to make the tackle for Stephen F. Austin. A big loss on that play.
Sure, well, you got to credit number 35 on the sack right there, Rod, for Bobby Henry. For even bringing down by itself Reggie Lewis, but I think on what we saw right there was a hand or an arm falling down across the ankle of Reggie Lewis, because Reggie had pushed the would-be tackler off, and they came up short anyway. But giving the credit on the sack anyway.
4th and 14, Bart Bradley, the sophomore from Kilgore, is back. Deep punt formation. He will try to bang it out of bounds. Gets a high punt. And it will go into the end zone for the touchback. So not very much on the net, but with 12 minutes, 36 seconds to go here in the 1st half, it's still Stephen F. Austin 14, Sam Houston 10. So the Lumberjacks will now operate with the wind. The Bearcats electing to take the win in the first quarter, and the Lumberjacks come out scoring 14 points. So that decision hasn't worked out too well so far for Sam Houston. Now Hamill back to throw, looking, dumps out of the pocket. The ball is almost picked off. 85, Billy Anderson on the coverage. Pass intended that time for the tight end, Brad Barfield.
And credit Billy Anderson with a fine defensive play on that. He stretched out full horizontal on that play, Rod, and he got his hand just in there at the last moment to knock the ball down. Very fine play by number 85, Billy Anderson.
Anderson, the junior, one-year letterman out of Greenville, Texas, playing at the free safety position, 4 interceptions in 2 games. As once again, Hamill back to throw. He'll be brought down. Nice defensive play, returning the favor that time for Sam Houston up from the defensive line to make the stop. 53. Huey Blackman, the sophomore squadsman from Longview, Texas, brings down the Lumberjack quarterback.
And it seems, Rod, that's what they're going to have to, the Bearcat defense is going to have to do, is penetrate through that offensive line of the Lumberjacks and put pressure on the quarterback or shoot the gap early to stop those running backs from coming up the middle.
As we mentioned, the Bearcats getting fooled that time. Blackman not fooled on the play as Edwards goes wide to the right side and Patterson wide left. Hamill straight back to throw, has time, steps up into the pocket, now has got a lot of green in front of him. He will come up to the 30-yard line, up to about the 32, met there by Meldon Nichols with help from Billy Anderson, but it's going to be enough for a Stephen F. Austin first down, and that time just nobody between the defensive line and the secondary people, and once Hamill broke the line of scrimmage, he had plenty of room to run.
That's right. He had just a little bit of pressure in the backfield, Rob, but he waited till his receivers had taken the defensive back so deep that once he stepped up, as you said, there was nothing between him and the defenders, which is about a gap of 30 yards.
Patterson wide to the left and Edwards wide right. Hamill still back in the pocket to throw, looking to go long. Ricky Royal on the coverage. Ball is broken up. Nice defensive play that time. And you know, early in the season, Ricky Royal had a problem on plays like that with not looking back for the football. That time he looked back for the football and timed his jump with the receiver, and that kept him from getting the pass interference penalty.
That's true, Rod. And the very first game of the season against San Angelo, we saw exactly what you're talking about, the secondary and the Bearcats defense getting burned left and right.
Second down and 10, spot the ball at the 32-yard line in Lumberjack territory. Now pitch the ball deep in the backfield. Larry Sinners breaks a couple of tackles. Good hard running inside by the sophomore from Tatum, as he will be out across the 35-yard line, giving him a gain of about 4 yards on that play, bring up second down and 6. We're checking third down and 6. Clock runs 10 minutes, 53 seconds to go here before halftime. Stephen F. Austin leading it here over Sam Houston, 14-10. Patterson and Edwards are both split wide to the left side. Single back formation as Hamill looks to throw. Ball is incomplete over on the near sideline. Patterson had it go in and out of his hands, and that time good defense as the Bearcats hold on fourth down.
That was a big play right there for the Bearcats. Stop the Lumberjacks. Well, they had good field position. The Bearcats will come out of this with good field position. So I think that was a very important play, especially when you have a man like Billy Anderson, a dangerous return man like Billy Anderson. He'll be receiving it somewhere around the 25-yard line. And
Steve Merca with a good punt, almost blocked by Delrich Gay. Now return up the sidelines. Billy Anderson breaks off a couple of tackles. Nice play that time by Stephen F. Austin's John Paul Young, a backup defensive back on the specialty teams.
It looked to me, Rod, that even had number 2, Steve Merca, the punter, was in on the tackle, I believe.
We have a Bearcat shaking up on the near sideline. And hold your breath, looks like 43 Leish Adams. Let's hope he just had the wind knocked out of him. Now they're not looking at any particular part of his body.
And, well, one thing you really be grateful for is nobody's looking at any area of the leg.
That's true. No knee or ankles.
I think he just got the wind knocked out of him, Rod. It looks to me like they're trying to
Elevate his legs.
And give the lungs a little less pressure.
So the Bearcats will operate at the 42-yard line when we return to action. They will have a first down and 10. Take a look at the current South Conference with a 5-0 record, followed by Northeastern Louisiana at 4-0. Sam Houston is in third with a 2-1 record. Northwestern Louisiana 2-3. Stephen F. Austin is at 1-2. McNeese State 4-1, and 0-3 for Southwest Texas. So coming into games, as really the Bearcats, Northeastern Louisiana, North Texas are only teams really still in the running here in the Southland Conference. Next week, or this week, the Eagles will be at Arkansas State. The following week, they will be at Northeast Louisiana, and they will end the season at home at Louisiana Tech. Now, Northeastern Louisiana, who is currently 4-0 in the conference, will play at Southern Mississippi, then play a Southland Conference game at home to take on North Texas State, and then they will play a designated Southland Conference game at home against Arkansas State. Sam Houston, after today's conference game against Stephen F. Austin, will be at home for a designated conference game with Western Illinois, and then travel to San Marcos to take on Southwest Texas.
And it appears, Rod, that number 43, Lash Adams, is okay. He's up and walking around. Hopefully, it was just the air getting knocked out of him. That would be a devastating loss for the Bearcats, one that I don't think they could really realistically replace him and get any kind of performance out of anybody else like that.
Well, you're never going to replace a guy that just gets to the football as well as Lash Adams, one of the leading tacklers in the Southland Conference, and we can only hold our breath and hope that Lash Adams will return to action. The trainers are still talking to him on the bench here on the near sidelines, and if we receive any word on Lash Adams, we will pass it on. But right now, 1st and 10, spot the ball at the 42-yard line. Henry wide to the left side, and Keith Willis is wide to the right, I formation behind the quarterback, Reggie Lewis. Now play action. Lewis looking to go long, has a man. Keith Willis, nice catch on the play into Lumberjack territory across the 40-yard line. Nice leap and a nice catch that time by Keith Willis, tackled on the play by Stephen F. Austin by number 32 left side quarterback, Bruce Alexander.
Well, that was that favorite connection that we're always talking about, Reggie Lewis and Keith Willis, Rod. That when those two can get their synchronization down, it's really hard to stop.
A couple of former high school teammates from Waco Jefferson Moore High School. 1st and 10. Now Reggie Lewis will run the bootleg, will try to turn the corner, will go out of bounds. He may gain 1 yard on the play. Good pursuit that time by Bobby Henry, the right side linebacker, sophomore 1-year runnerman out of Denison. Helped to force Reggie Lewis out of bounds.
It looked like to me that number 45, Daryl Montgomery, just flat missed a block on that. The lineman came just screaming right by him, and once he was by him, there's really nothing left he could do.
So gain of 1 yard on the play, spot the ball out at the 38-yard line. As one of the Bearcat offensive linemen moved on the play, 54 that time for Sam Houston. Walter Fortune will draw the penalty.
I believe that's going to be one of the first penalties we've seen against the Bearcats thus far today, Rod.
I believe it is the first penalty on Sam Houston this afternoon with 9 minutes. It comes with 9 minutes, 42 seconds to go until halftime. So back the Bearcats up, now 2nd and 14. As Willis is wide to the left side, James Lopez wide to the right. Ricky Eggleston is tight to the right side, split backfield. Now Reggie Lewis will turn the ball upfield, break a couple of tackles, now is into the secondary. He needs a couple of blocks. He will be inside the 10, down to the 5, down to the 2-yard line, and a nice run that time by Reggie Lewis.
Well, that's the same thing that the Lumberjacks are using. The same exact play. Quarterback gets it, drops, acts like he's going to drop back in the pocket for the pass, stops, hesitates, and goes right up the middle. There's a gaping hole there, and once they do that, it's hard to stop them.
Reggie Lewis showing incredible athletic ability on that play as he turned it up in the hole, made a couple of tacklers miss, and then bounced off a couple of tackles. So 1st and goal, ball at the 2-yard line. Victor Henry, lone receiver to the left side, double tight end set as Rob Beecham is tight to the left. Ricky Eggleston tight right. Luther Turner is the deep back. Pitch it to Turner. He will be hit right in the middle of that defensive line. A nice play that time by number 90, Eric King, the left end. And Luther Turner will have no gain, a good surge that time by the front line of Stephen F. Austin's defense.
Well, you know, Rod, that play right there is one that we saw the Bearcats try to use against North Texas and a lot of other teams. They get right down to the goal line, they turn and pitch the ball 5 yards back into the backfield, and then the back's got an extra 5 yards to make up before he ever makes it to the line of scrimmage.
Kind of setting the table, so to speak, for that Lumberjack defense. Gave him a loss of 1 yard on the play. Now 2nd and goal from the 3. Hand the ball straight up the middle, and that's Daryl Montgomery, touchdown. Good observation that time. Hand it to the guy where he doesn't have to make 5 yards to get back to the line of scrimmage, and he gets into the end zone. So that time, a good surge by the fullback, Daryl Montgomery. Officially 3 yards on the touchdown run.
And the kick is up and good.
So with 9 minutes, or taking 8 minutes, 26 seconds to go here until halftime, it's now Sam Houston 17, Stephen F. Austin 14.
Start your day off on Channel 7 with the all-new Huntsville This Morning, 8:30 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday. Catch up on the current events of the community with Channel 7's morning television program. Huntsville This Morning, Monday through Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Community events, special services, and general information of interest to the Huntsville area are just some of the topics discussed on 15 Minutes on cable Channel 7, Monday through Thursday at 10 p.m.
So the Bearcats still impressive on offense. Now have taken the lead. A lot of big plays on that drive. Reggie Lewis's scramble, the pass to Keith Willis to get him into Lumberjack territory, and the Bearcat offense really has looked on track against this very tough Stephen F. Austin defense.
That's true, Rod. A couple of times the Bearcats, almost all their drives have been impressive ones. They've had big yards on all their drives. A couple of times they've been shut down right at the goal line, come up empty-handed, but as that time they put it in for the 6 points. And now, as a result, the Bearcats have the lead.
The ball will be kicked short, taken by one of the upmen for Stephen F. Austin. 23, Marvin Davis is the return man, tackled by a whole host of Bearcats over on the far sideline, getting up slow for Sam Houston. 96, Marty Ognoski, a backup defensive end.
And Rod, it looks to me like Jerome Heim is having a little bit of problem with his kicking at this point. Given the fact that he is kicking into the wind, that's got to be a problem pushing the ball down a little bit, but those are some really low line drive kicks.
Now Hamill will pitch the ball. Larry Centers, look out as he breaks a couple of tackles. He's into Bearcat territory, knocked out of bounds by Tolly Royal. Or check it, Ricky Royal to force him out of bounds at the 19-yard line. That time a quick pitch by Todd Hamill and big yardage for the running back Larry Centers.
Well, Rod, it's not that there was bad pursuit or anything on that play. It was just a well-designed play by the Lumberjacks. It had a superb block right after the pitch, which freed him up, and it was really good pursuit on the part of the Bearcats once he did break it into open field.
On 1st and 10, hand the ball off to Michael Horace. First time we've called his name this afternoon. Tackled on the play for the Bearcats by 59, Andre Finney. with help from Todd Jones on the play. Give him a gain of 4 yards and bring up a 2nd down and 6. Patterson and Edwards are both split wide to the left side. I formation as now Michael Horace has moved into the tailback position. Hand it to Horace. He will be met in the backfield. Nice tackle from behind. Todd Jones up to make the stop for Sam Houston. Jones, a 5'10", 253-pound freshman from Houston, up to make the tackle for Sam Houston.
You know, Rod, this is a really good chance for the Bearcat defense to rise to the occasion and show their colors. Right down here, if they could just hold them to a field goal or possibly shut down the field goal and leave the Lumberjacks empty-handed. Melvin
Patterson and Chris Edwards are both wide to the left side. Now fake the handoff. Hamill keeps the ball and will be dragged down. 59, Andre Findlay, the sophomore, one-year letterman from Houston Forest Brook. And I don't think that Todd Hamill is fooling the Bearcat defense quite as well as he was in the early going.
That's true, Rod.
So it looks like the Lumberjacks will attempt the field goal. The freshman from Ruston, Louisiana, number 12, David Jones, on. Out of the hold of Monty West.
And credit that Bearcat defense really heavily this time, Rob, because guess who wasn't in there? Leish Adams, number 43, is still on the bench.
Kick is up, and it is good. 40-yard field goal from David Jones, and now with 6 minutes, 19 seconds to go until halftime, we're all tied at 17.
You say you've got too much to do and not enough time to do it. Are the pressures of school and your job getting too much for you to handle? Then it's time for Stress Watch. Join Cassandra Baker and her assistant Berlinda Pruneda for solutions to time management and helpful tips to handle stress. Only on Cable Channel 7. That's Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock.
So 6 minutes, 19 seconds to go until halftime from Homer Bryce Stadium here in Nacogdoches, Texas. A capacity house that is spilling over into the grass here, as probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, I'd say 13 to 14,000 people. As this stadium holds 14,000, it looks like it is just about full.
That's true. One thing I'd like to mention is that Leish Adams had some ice on the back of his neck, so he may have had a shot to the head or got hit from behind or something, maybe a clip that wasn't seen. He's up and around walking right now. Looks like he's going to be leaving the field, so this could mean trouble for the Bearcats.
Leish Adams is being helped, I think, to the dressing room, and as a Bearcat fan, you would hope for his return, because as we mentioned, he is the cog in that makes that Bearcat defense go, as he is the leading tackler for the Bearcat team, one of the leading tacklers in the Southland Conference. So we'll try to get a report as soon as we can on Leish Adams, as the Lumberjacks will kick it off. Back deep, Victor Henry and Ricky Davis for Sam Houston. The kick will be taken by Victor Henry. He will be up across the 20 now, try to reverse his field. He will be dragged down from behind. And that time, Victor Henry just couldn't get away. Eric King and George Redmond on the tackle for Stephen F. Austin on the special team. So the Bearcat offense comes out, 6:08 to go until halftime. Game all tied at 17.
I believe this is the worst start that Sam Houston's had as far as field position in the game.
Long count by Reggie Lewis. Hand the ball straight up the middle to the fullback. That's Ricky Davis. We'll check it. Daryl Montgomery on the carry for Sam Houston. Bobby Henry up from his right side linebacking spot to make the tackle for Stephen F. Austin. James Lopez checks into the ball game.
This could be a very, very important drive right here for the Lumberjack defense. If they can shut the Bearcats down right here, this deep in their territory, force the Bearcats to punt, the Lumberjacks will come out with superb field position.
Now flags fly. We will probably have an illegal procedure penalty against Sam Houston. Dead ball false start on the offense is the preliminary indication. So back the Bearcats up, and now they will be faced with a second down and about 14.
Right, we can still see Life Adams. He has made his way out of here very slow. I think he might have some sort of maybe a head injury because he is walking almost like he's still in a complete daze.
He is walking very slowly underneath the tunnel as Reggie Lewis drops to throw. Once again is under pressure, wings it out, has the fullback, Daryl Montgomery. He will have good yardage, knocked out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Good hit that time by the Lumberjacks. 43, David Whitmore, the free safety, but a nice job of finding the receiver and buying time by Reggie Lewis.
That's right, and he's really shown today that he's not going to dump it off every time he gets under pressure. He's been under heavy pressure almost all day, and he's been waiting and picking and finding his receivers when they're in the open and they're safely in the open.
So Lopez is wide to the left side. Keith Willis is wide to the right. Now play action. Lewis looking to go long. Has a man, Lopez, and there comes the flag. Lopez was hit early. The penalty on the play for Stephen F. Austin will go against Johnny Hendricks, a 5'10" defensive back. And that time clearly hit him early. I don't know if Lopez really would have had that good a chance to catch the ball, but didn't even get the opportunity to jump for it.
Well, I think he would have, Rod. The ball really wasn't overthrown, it wasn't underthrown. He was leading him. Lopez, who just had to come back to the ball a slight few steps, and he was clearly, as you said, clearly hit well before the ball ever reached him.
Really looked like he was overthrown because I don't think the defensive back ever gave Lopez the chance to jump or have an opportunity to leap for the pass. So now, they wave the flag off as the referee has said no penalty now, and the Bearcats will be faced with 2nd and 10. Strange call that time, as Lopez looked like he was clearly hit. I guess the referee figured that the pass was not catchable. So hand the ball off to Turner, who will get out to the 45-yard line, pick up 5 yards on that play. Will bring up a 3rd down and 5. A strange decision that time by the referee.
Well, perhaps another referee, another official had a better angle on the call, a better view to it, and they'll confer like that. As we saw last week against a game Dallas was in, where a call was reversed like that, just because someone else had a better view on it.
Now Lewis looking for somewhere to go. He's got a lot of green in front of him. He will be into Lumberjack territory. Reverse his field a couple of times. Be knocked down on the play. Now the whistle had blown. The referee has blew the whistle when Reggie Lewis went down, as it appeared he fumbled the football. Up. Number 50, or Bobby Henry, check it, 35, up to make the stop on Reggie Lewis. Once again, Reggie Lewis having an outstanding game running the football.
Well, as he always does. He just, once he gets a little green in front of him, he's going to go. And unless you have good speed or you have a good tackle, good shot at him, he's going to get the major yardage, certainly a 1st down.
Willis goes wide to the left side with Victor Henry, wide to the right, 1st and 10. Spot the ball down at the 22-yard line in Lumberjack territory. As the pitchback comes deep in the backfield, Luther Turner nowhere to go on that play. He will get back to the line of scrimmage, and that is all. That tough defense shows because the Bearcats have not had any success with that deep pitch in the backfield.
Well, it's been somewhat of a controversial play that we've seen all year, Rod. Most of the time we've seen there's been a few plays where they have gotten some yards, but for the most part, every time they pitch deep back into the backfield like that, their backs get shut down.
Well, it's not a bad play to use in the first down situation when your defense has to be prepared with everything. It has not worked in these short yardage situations as Reggie Lewis looks to throw. Now that pass is complete. 18 Keith Willis on the reception inside the 15 down to about the 13-yard line in Lumberjack territory. He looks to be about a yard or two short of the first down. So spot him at the 14. He needs to get the 12 for the first down. 3rd down and 2. As the Bearcats will go double tight end set with Rob Beecham tight to the left side and Ricky Eggleston is tight right. Now hand the ball to the back. That's Luther Turner will be very close to first down yardage. He should have enough for the first down. From where they spotted it, though, it looks like it's going to be very close to the first down. So the chain gangs bring the chains in from across the way.
Well, once again, there we saw the pitch back, Rod, and you know you're that close to getting the first down. It seems like, you know, run and shoot.
So by the length of the football, first down and 10. Sam Houston spot the ball at the 12-yard line. And now the Bearcats looking once again to put more points on the scoreboard. Clock runs 2 minutes, 27 seconds to go until halftime. As the Bearcats will stay with the double tight end set. Rob Beecham tight on the left side and Ricky Eggleston tight right. The lone receiver to the left side is James Lopez. High formation, Montgomery and Turner. Pitch the ball deep in the backfield. Luther Turner will go down to about the 6-yard line. Nice hit on the play out of bounds for Stephen F. Austin. 43, the free safety, David Whitmore. But a nice gain that time of about 6 yards for Luther Turner.
Really was a good hit. Most of the time when Luther Turner gets that far in, close to the goal line, and he has a little bit of running room built up before he gets there, he's a hard man to stop with just a single hit.
So now Victor Henry is the lone receiver wide to the left side. Bearcats operate now. 2nd out and 5. Spot the ball at the 6-yard line. Pitch the ball deep in the backfield. Luther Turner, he will walk into the end zone for the touchdown. So a homecoming of sorts for Luther Turner as the senior one-year letterman from Waco takes it into the end zone. And you know, he's playing in front of a lot of hometown folks that used to watch him play when he was in high school.
Well, I guess we that's news to me, Rod. I wasn't aware of that.
He's always real excited about coming to Homer Bryce Stadium and playing against the Lumberjacks. Always wants to play well. Here's the extra point attempt is up and good. So with 2 minutes, 4 seconds to go until halftime, your new score: Sam Houston 24, Stephen F. Austin 17.
On Cable Channel 7, aerobics for the health of it. The new aerobics show for couples. You and a friend can enjoy the privacy of doing aerobics in your own home. That's aerobics for the health of it, Thursday mornings at 9 o'clock. Find out about the black community and its leaders. Huntsville's most prominent black men will be featured as they tell what they're doing to improve the quality of life in the black Huntsville community on Huntsville Elite, each week on Cable Channel 7, Mondays at 9 o'clock.
So 2 minutes, 4 seconds to go until halftime. Important right now for Sam Houston not to let this Stephen F. Austin team get any momentum going into the halftime, as the Bearcats have now taken the 7-point lead. Defense has to play well. A defense that right now is minus Lash Adams.
That's right. The Bearcat defense has got to come out here and shut down the Lumberjack offense, go into the locker room with a 7-point lead. It works both ways, Rod. Whereas the Lumberjacks offense they've got to score some kind of points on this drive.
Ball is taken once again by one of the upmen as Jerome Heim continues to dribble the ball along the ground, and he's giving Stephen F. Austin excellent field position. Marvin Davis once again will return the kick for Stephen F. Austin.
You know, Rod, that's one thing Coach Ron Reynolds has got to do something. He's got to talk to Jerome, see what the problem is. Maybe it's just the wind pushing the ball down. We can't tell from up here, but you have to look at the fact that every time that he's done this, Stephen F. Austin's come out with good field position and gotten a big play right off the bat and put them into scoring position.
Todd Hamill, ball is picked up, and it's Billy Anderson once again. A lot of green, a couple of blockers. He will be inside the 35, knocked out of bounds. Another interception for Billy Anderson.
Well, that's what we said the first of the game, Rod. He's had 4 interceptions within the last 2 games. The man's only been on defense for a short time now. He was a flanker. He's been defense for 2 games, now 3 games. He's got 5 interceptions. What a defensive back Billy Anderson has become.
That time, Hamill overthrew the intended receiver, the tight end on the play, Brad Barfield. And as we mentioned, the Bearcats not giving Stephen F. Austin momentum. Now the Bearcats could have a chance to take a huge momentum advantage going into halftime. Play action, Reggie Lewis under pressure, and he will be sacked. That time, just no time to throw the football. 56 for Stephen F. Austin in on the play.
And that's one thing we've been seeing, Rod. The Bearcat, the offensive line, they're doing nothing in the way of giving Reggie Lewis any time, any kind of protection. Reggie's been scrambling left and right all day long, and he's just got to have some protection. You can't do that all day. Reggie's going to be worn out before this game is over.
Keith Melcher, Carlton Walker both combined to make the stop on Reggie Lewis that time. A loss of 10 yards on the play. Now the Bearcats going against the wind here in the second half as Lewis drops straight back to throw once again. Is Rush, sets up the screen, but that one will go nowhere as not good blocking, good penetration, read well over on the far sideline by the Stephen F. Austin defense.
One thing now that at this point, Rod, you can't look for a play that's got to set itself up like the screen. Your back now, it's going to be third and call it about 23. And so look for him to go deep to either Victor Henry or Keith Willis now.
Yeah, the Bearcats, I think now with only 33 seconds clock running, would like to try to get it into field goal range, although the kick would have to be against the wind, so the Bearcats would need good yardage as the pass across the field almost complete, but is incomplete, intended over here near sideline for Victor Henry. That stops the clock with 23 seconds to go, and the Bearcats will probably have a couple of more shots, or check it'll be 4th down, so they will trot the punting unit on. So not real good production in that offensive drive, but at least with the interception, they kept Stephen F. Austin out of the end zone up to this point until halftime.
That's right. About all that, don't downplay the interception. The interception is good whenever you can get it, but that interception, more or less what that did is negated the poor kick by Jerome Hine.
So Bart Bradley will get his foot into it against the wind, and what a kill that time, and the ball will be stopped at the 1-yard line. Nice play that time as Ricky Royal hustled downfield and just jumped into the end zone, set it back at the 1 where it was down. A nice hustling play on the special teams by Ricky Royal.
Well, he was in full stride for that ball. He knew exactly where it was coming down. He knew where he was in relation to the goal line, and he just slapped it down right there on the 1-yard line. Good pat on the back for Ricky Royal and the special team, the punting unit for the Bearcats.
As that ball is just outside the end zone, the Lumberjacks, with only 13 seconds to go until halftime, would probably just like to not get sacked for a safety here.
Just punch it out over the line is what they've got to do, Rod.
And that's exactly what Todd Hamill will do. That will probably be the last play until halftime unless someone stops the clock. Give him a gain of 1 yard on that play as the clock moves down to 2, now 1. And that's the end of the first half of play. From Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches, your halftime score is the Sam Houston Bearcats 24, the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks 17. Stay tuned because Bearcat football continues on Cable Channel 7 with the second half coming up next. And welcome back to the second half of this afternoon's game between Sam Houston State and the Stephen F. Austin State Lumberjacks. I'm Rod Sydlik along with Dan Bonner, and the second half should be exciting. A lot of points scored, more than we had anticipated at the outset of the game. 24-17, Sam Houston leads it. Your thoughts on the first half, Dan?
Well, Rod, it was not only more scoring than our anticipation, but also on the part of Coach Ron Randleman and Coach Hess. They were both predicting a low-scoring game, a hard-fought, low-scoring game. It's not been the case. It's really been a battle of the defenses so far. The offenses have been both teams have been moving the ball fairly well up and down the field. Both stalling out primarily down close into the goal line. One big turnover by the Lumberjacks. Billy Anderson, number 85 for the Bearcats, made a fine interception. This is his 5th interception in the past 3 games now. But no major penalties. The penalties that we have seen have been for relatively short yards. So look forward to be another half of battling defenses.
You're looking at the halftime statistics. First downs even, 12 apiece. Yards rushing net. Sam Houston, 23 carries, 120 yards. Stephen F. Austin, 178 yards rushing. The Bearcats have 132 yards passing to 61 yards passing for Stephen F. Austin. So total yardage, Sam Houston 252, Stephen F. Austin 39. So very close there, only 12 yards, or 13 yards, separating the two teams in total offense. Taking a look at individual statistics for Sam Houston, rushing Montgomery, 6 carries, 17 yards, 1 touchdown. Reggie Lewis, 6 carries, 50 yards. And Luther Turner, 10 carries, 35 yards. For SFA, 15 carries for Centers for 122 yards. 122 yards in the first half for Centers. And Hamill, 7 carries, 52 yards. As the kickoff will come deep with the win to Victor Henry. He will down it into the end zone. Bearcat scrimmage 1st and 10 from the 20. In the passing department, Reggie Lewis, 7 of 11, 132 yards and 1 touchdown. That one coming on the 46-yard pass to Ricky Eggleston. Todd Hamill, 3 completions out of 10 attempts, 1 interception, 61 yards, and 1 touchdown. That coming on the 24-yard scoring pass to from Hamill to Melvin Patterson.
So, Rod, look, one thing to look at is the Bearcats' defense in this half, because Reggie, check that, Elias Adams is out of the game now with a concussion. That's a confirmed report.
He is expected not to return in this ball game. Handoff straight up the middle goes to the fullback, number 45, Darryl Montgomery. He will find it tough going up through the middle of the interior line of that Stephen F. Austin defense. Give him a gain of 1 yard on the play and bring up 2nd down and 9.
I think the Bearcats, they're really going to have to, as the Lumberjacks offense is relying primarily on their running game, I think the Bearcats are going to have to concentrate on the air game. Coach Ron Randall wanted to get his running game established here, but I think they're really going to have to go to the air to move on this Lumberjack defense.
Reggie Lewis will swing it out of the backfield to Luther Turner. Now evades a couple of tackles, gets into the Lumberjack secondary, forced out of bounds on the far side of the field. 96 middle linebacker Eric Loki will force him out there, but a nice pickup of a gain of about 14 yards on that play and a 1st down for Luther Turner as one of the Lumberjacks is shaken up on the near sideline. So nifty running that time, as we haven't seen Reggie Lewis swing the ball out of the backfield very often to Luther Turner. He made a couple of tacklers miss and picked up good yardage.
And it looks to be down for SFA is going to be number 43, David Whitmore. And that's going to be a problem for the SFA defense, Rob, because he's been one of their primary tacklers in this game so far for the Lumberjack defense. He's been on all the major plays. He stopped Reggie Lewis, and Reggie had that 40-yard gain of rushing. He was the only man left that stopped Reggie Lewis.
Whitmore has made some touchdown-saving tackles, big tackles. Taking a look at pass receiving in the first half, Ricky Eggleston only had 2 catches, but they were good for 67 yards. The long one coming on the 46-yard reception for the touchdown. Keith Willis, 3 receptions, 45 yards, a long of 19. Melvin Patterson, 3 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown for Stephen F. Austin, his long of 26 yards.
A little correction to make, that was number 60 that was down for SFA, the Lumberjack defense. So a break there. Lucky for the Lumberjack defense, it was not number 43.
David Whitmore.
The
injured Lumberjack was 60, Vince Adams, the right tackle, senior, 3-year letterman out of Jasper, is helped off to the far sideline. So the Bearcats operate 1st and 10, 35-yard line. Henry wide to the left side, Keith Willis wide right, I formation behind the quarterback, Reggie Lewis. Now the handoff will go, Luther Turner. He will get about 3 yards on that play, bring up about a 2nd down and 7.
really got to credit this Lumberjack defense for shutting down the running game of the Bearcats so well. As we've said in past games, Luther Turner is a hard man to stop, and they have all but shut him down on the runs from scrimmage.
Yeah, he only averaged 3.5 yards a carry in the first half. Now the Bearcats will operate 2nd down and 7. Once again, the handoff to the deep back, that's Luther Turner. Met on the play by 76, Keith Melcher, the right end junior, one-year lineman from Pasadena, Texas. So 5 yards on the carry for Luther Turner, takes the ball up to the 43-yard line. Will bring up a 3rd down and 2 situation. Bearcats will go double tight end set as Rob Beecham is checked in and gone tight to the left side. Ricky Eggleston is tight right. Victor Henry, the lone receiver, on 3rd and 2. Now pitch the ball to Luther Turner. He will stumble out near midfield. Flags are down, and I believe the Lumberjacks were offsides.
It appeared that way. Only thing is if they were drawn off by the Bearcat offensive line. It is not the case. Official indicates that it was against the Lumberjacks.
So mark the ball, the penalty off 5 yards, or refuse the penalty and credit Luther Turner with the run. Give him 1st down yardage up to the 48-yard line. James Lopez checks into the ball game to bring the play in from the near sidelines. And the Bearcats will scrimmage 1st and 10, ball at the 48, just underway here in the 2nd half. Bearcats on top 24-17 as double wide receivers are both to the left side I formation behind the quarterback Reggie Lewis. And that time the Bearcats offensive lineman, the right side of that offensive line, just left a little bit too early. So back the Bearcats up to the 43-yard line, and that's going to bring up a 1st down and 15.
And Rod, that was one thing that hurt them in previous games was the penalties. They get the good play. As here, they got the 1st down. In good field position, they draw a penalty, and now they're facing 1st and 15, a very tough situation.
Yeah, the Bearcats a good job in the first half. Only 2 penalties, 10 yards. Not like the Bearcat games so far this season. Now Lewis drops to throw, and flags are down once again. And once again, it looks like a penalty on Sam Houston. Dead ball will be a false start on the offense, so back the Bearcats up another 5 yards, and now it's 1st and 20. And after a good first half of avoiding the penalties, the Bearcats come out in the 2nd half and begin to hurt themselves.
So now most assuredly, Rod, the Lumberjacks are going to be looking for the pass.
As the Bearcats will go with the double wide receivers, Henry and Lopez, both wide to the left side. Now it looks like Reggie Lewis is changing the play of the line of scrimmage, and now we'll call a timeout. So with 11 minutes and 56 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter, Bearcats faced with a 1st down and 20 take a timeout. Your score, Sam Houston 24, Stephen F. Austin 17.
Right now, you know Coach Ron Reynolds got to be thinking to himself, no, not again, this can't happen. My team came out here. The first half, they played very well. They drew, very few penalties. And what penalties they did draw weren't for big yardage, and they managed to overcome that. Now they come out here, as you said, the starting of the 2nd half, and, bam, bam, right, one back after the other. They've got 2 penalties that's put them 1st and 20 situation. And you just can't win ball games when you can draw penalties like that, especially consecutive, right at one after the other.
So the Bearcats will operate on a 1st and 20 situation, ball at the 38-yard line.
Guys, are you tired of cafeteria food? Do you want to impress your girlfriend? Then join host Kevin Davis, who will show you how to prepare tasty cuisine on The Bachelor Chef, right here on Cable Channel 7, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. So
the Bearcats finding themselves up by 7 points And you know it's really going to be tough. Bearcats going to have to play defense without the services of their number one tackler, Leish Adams. That could hurt the Bearcats here as this game moves along. I believe Brandon Sandifer has moved in to that strong side linebacking spot vacated by Leish Adams. So just about set to return to action now. The Bearcats face with a 1st and 20 ball at the 38-yard line as Lopez and Victor Henry are both split wide to the left side. Split backs behind the quarterback, Reggie Lewis. Turner and Montgomery are the setbacks. Draw play will go to the fullback. That's Montgomery. Not much going. Maybe 3 yards on that play. Will bring up a 2nd down and 17.
And Rob, what are your feelings on running? A running play from scrimmage when you're facing 1st and 20. Maybe Coach Ryan Randleman was anticipating the anticipation of the Lumberjacks, looking for the pass.
Well, a draw play is not a bad play in that situation, but you really like a speedy back like Turner to carry the ball instead of your fullback. Now swing it out to Luther Turner, has blockers in front, runs over one of the Lumberjacks and goes out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Carl Joyner up from his linebacking spot to make the tackle for Stephen F. Austin. So Turner picks up 7 yards, close to 7 yards on that play. Bearcats still facing a 3rd down and 10 as Lopez is wide to the left, Keith Willis wide to the right. Backs remain split behind Reggie Lewis. On 3rd and 10, now Lewis looking to throw. Drops straight back, now faces pressure and will be sacked. For Stephen F. Austin, right in Keith Melcher, junior 1-year letterman from Pasadena, up to make the stop. That time Reggie Lewis had no one to throw the ball to.
Rod, I can't almost disagree with the philosophy there on the part of Coach Ron Randall. He gets 2 running plays, gets almost nothing out of them, and then you're faced with a 3rd and long, you finally decide to go to the pass. And once you do that, you've got nothing out of the 2 running plays, and you pass, and there's a danger of your quarterback getting sacked, as we just saw, and it puts him in very poor position to punt. It's going to give the Lumberjacks great field position.
Bart Bradley's punt will hit down at the 30 and go out of bounds at the 26-yard line. So the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks will scrimmage 1st and 10. Decent field position which to work with here. 10 minutes, 29 seconds to go. 3rd quarter action from Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches. Bearcats on top, 24-17.
Now we really got to watch this Bearcat defense. It's almost crippled. They're missing Odie Harris, so you got a weak side there with Melton Mickles, and now Leish Adams is gone.
Now Edwards goes in motion. Patterson, the lone wide receiver to the left side. Hand the ball off to Larry Sinners. Will try to turn it upfield. Nice play over to drag him down for Sam Houston. On the play, 58, Brandon Sandifer, the man I just mentioned, in playing Leish Adams in his linebacker spot. He comes up and makes the big hit.
Well, maybe Brandon Sandifer knows he's got big shoes to fill out there right now for Leish Adams, and maybe we're gonna see an extra good effort on the part of Brandon Sandifer.
Sandifer, only a freshman from Houston, up to make the stop on Larry Settles. Give him a loss of 1 yard on the play. Todd Hamill back to throw. Now tries to jump and get out of the pocket. Will run the ball. Ball is fumbled, but I believe they're going to say he was down. 59, Andre Finley up to make the stop. Sophomore 1-year letterman from Houston, Forest Brook, up to drag Todd Hamill down. He will pick up about a yard on the play, take it back to the original line of scrimmage, where now the Lumberjacks will be faced with 3rd down and 10. So extra defensive backs in the ball game now for Sam Houston. As the draw play, straight up the middle, Larry Sinners will go only to the 30-yard line. Nice play once again. Andre Finley. Marvin Brown will get credit for the tackle, and that time good defense by the Bearcats.
Sure was, Rodney. It showed a lot of character on the part of the Bearcat defense with all of them. They're missing key players right now.
So Steve Murgo, the junior transfer from Pflugerville, is on to punt. Billy Anderson will watch it roll. It will be down at about the 32-yard line. 23 for the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjacks. Marvin Davis touches it down there. And as we mentioned in the first half, Dan, an outstanding crowd here for homecoming at Homer Bryce Stadium, and officially 15,532 the total attendance here at Homer Bryce Stadium. Quite a nice crowd for Division I AA football.
It sure is, Rod. And then again, you have to look at the fact that this is homecoming. This is the biggest rival in the Southland Conference.
Handoff will go straight up the middle. Daryl Montgomery, the fullback, gets the carry, picks up only a yard on the play, will bring up a 2nd down and 9. So the Bearcat offense looking to get on track here in the second half, as now the clock runs with 8 minutes, 10 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Well, as I said on the Bearcats' first possession of this half, Rod, the running game is being shut down completely. And when you shut down a back like Luther Turner, you know that the defense, the opposing team is doing something right. And I think that the Bearcats would have to go to the air at this point.
Pass over here on the near sideline, incomplete, intended for the tight end. That's Ricky Eggleston. Coverage on the play by 43, David Whitmore, the free safety sophomore, 1-year letterman out of Dangerfield, over to make the defensive play on Eggleston. That time, good play fake. Eggleston had worked his way open, but a good defensive play by Whitmore. So the Bearcats now with a 3rd and 10 situation. Victor Henry is wide to the left side, Keith Willis wide right. The two receivers you want to have in there in this situation. And now Lewis will look to throw, has a man, complete. Nice catch over on the far hash mark. Will be Victor Henry up as he made the reception. 38. George Redmond, the strong safety, up to touch him down, but good concentration that time as that ball took a little while to get there. Victor Henry hauled it in for the 1st down.
Definitely good concentration on the part of Victor Henry to make the reception. As you said, to get that ball, he had a defender all over him. The ball did take a while to get there, but also credit Victor Henry with knowing exactly where he was and where he needed to be for that 1st down.
Just got about a yard more than he needed for the 1st down. So clock runs 7 minutes, 26 seconds as Reggie Lewis will roll it out, now looking to throw, now will tuck it up and run, gets past a couple of defenders and will be hit and knocked down. George Redmond, 38, senior 3-year letterman from Dayton, up to knock the quarterback down at the 40-yard line, but that will be good enough for a Sam Houston 1st down. So once again, as Reggie Lewis ran for 50 yards in the 1st half, continues to run well here in the 2nd half.
Well, that just goes back to what Coach Hess earlier in a pregame interview was saying. Check that. Reggie Lewis is most dangerous when the design play breaks down and he has to come out of the pocket and run with the ball.
1st and 10, ball at the 40-yard line. Hand the ball straight up the middle. Luther Turner now breaks off a couple of tackles, goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line, knocked out of bounds by 43. David Whitmore once again. He was making most of the tackles for Stephen F. Austin, and if you're a Bearcat fan, that's not a bad situation to have when the free safety on the opposing team is making most of the tackles. So good yardage, good enough for a 1st down. Give him 10 yards on that last carry. As Lopez goes wide to the left side, Keith Willis is wide to the right. I formation, Turner and Montgomery are the setbacks behind the quarterback, Reggie Lewis. Pitch the ball deep in the backfield. Luther Turner looks for somewhere to go. Will be hit and dragged down. Nice defensive surge that time, led by number 60, Vince Adams, the right tackle, senior 3-year letterman out of Jasper, up to make initial contact. Luther Turner having nowhere to go on that play.
Well, there again, Rod, you have a defense like the Lumberjacks and Stephen F. Austin. They're making good penetration against this Sam Houston offensive line. And when the defense is doing that, you can't pitch the ball 5 yards back in the backfield and expect the back to make something out of it. I don't care if you're Luther Turner. I don't care who you are. That's a tough situation for any back to work with, and I don't agree with that play.
Loss of 2 yards on the play. Lopez wide to the left side. Keith Willis wide right. Straight back to throw is Reggie Lewis. Now steps up into the pocket, and once again, Vince Adams up to make the stop for Stephen F. Austin. Another loss on the play, and the Bearcat offense is now finding it tough going here in the second half.
Well, the offensive line of the Bearcats has got to do something. They've got to come together, regroup, do whatever they have to do, but they're going to have to give Reggie Lewis in the back some more times because the Lumberjack defensive line is penetrating almost at will, getting through the offensive line. It's almost like there's no one there.
Loss of 5 yards on that last play. Now 3rd down and 17. Reggie Lewis looking to throw. Ball is tipped, and Victor Henry, intended receiver, incomplete. And the punting unit will trot on as Bart Bradley comes on for Sam Houston.
Well, Rob, this is almost the same position the Bearcats were in right at the closing seconds of the first half. Bart Bradley punting from around the 50, placed it perfectly right on the goal line.
So Bradley back once again will try to punt. Now the ball will be taken by Neal. He will be stopped short of the 15-yard line. Calvin Neal, the senior squadsman from Henderson, Texas, on the return for short yardage for Stephen F. Austin. So with 4 minutes and 39 seconds to go here in the third quarter, Sam Houston still leads it 24-17.
Tune in for Artworks with your host, Kevin Davis. Kevin will be demonstrating basic drawing techniques and perspectives for young and old. Don't miss it. Artworks here on Channel 7, 9:30 Wednesday nights.
So the Bearcat defense trotting back onto the field minus Leish Adams, who is lost for the remainder of the afternoon. We'll try to stop this Stephen F. Austin Lumberjack defense. So the Bearcats playing it tough here. Not much scoring, or really no scoring here in the second half. Pace of the game slowed down a little bit, but the Bearcats still holding their 7-point lead. Need to continue to play good defense, and they hope to escape Nacogdoches with a win here today.
Well, that's going to be the key, Rod, is if the Bearcat defense can hold up and rise to the occasion with the absence of Odie Harris and now Leish Adams. If they can do that, it's going to say a lot for this Bearcat defense.
Don't forget the Bearcats coming up Saturday will be playing a home game at Bearcat Stadium. That will be against the Leathernecks of Western Illinois as they invade Bearcat Stadium. 2 o'clock start time on that football game. Last home game of the season, so if you can get out and support Bearcat football at Bearcat Stadium, and the Bearcats will wrap up the season in San Marcos against the Southwest Texas State Bobcats. Now double tight end set for the Lumberjacks. Pitch it in the backfield to Larry Sinners. Good initial surge by 53 for Sam Houston. Huey Blackman.
Credit number 97, Marvin Brown, on the tackle, Rod.
Huey Blackman forced it. Brown and Tolly Royal were there to finish him off for the Bearcats. So loss of 2 yards on that play. Lumberjacks operate 2nd and 12 from the 13-yard line. Patterson is wide to the left side, and Chris Edwards is wide to the right. Hand the ball straight up the middle. Larry Sinners will be stopped for no gain. And the interior of that defensive line is tough right now for the Bearcats.
Well, as I said earlier, Rod, it's going to be a battle of the defenses. Which defense can hold out and maintain the longest? And so far, both defenses right now are coming out and absolutely shutting down the offenses, both squads.
So a gain of 1 yard on that last play, but the Lumberjacks still facing a 3rd down and 11 with the ball on the 14-yard line as Edwards is wide to the left side. Patterson wide right now. Play fake. Hamill looking, trying to step up into the pocket, is rushed, has a man. That's the tight end, Brad Barfield. Has it complete for good yardage and a Stephen F. Austin first down. That time Hamill bought himself some time and hit the junior 2-year letterman from Pasadena. So the Bearcats, who looked like they had Stephen F. Austin on the ropes deep in their territory, now give up the long pass play from Todd Hamill to the tight end Brad Barfield. Now the Lumberjacks have new life at the 37-yard line, or check it, the 32-yard, or it is the 37-yard line in their own territory. Hamill once again looking to air it out, now trying to avoid the rush, scrambles out of the pocket, will dump it out to Michael Horace. Nice open field tackle on the play by number 13, Delrich Gay. Help on the play by Roger Johnson. Give him a gain of 3 yards on the play, and that will bring up a 2nd down and 7. Clock runs 2 minutes, 43 seconds. No points have been put on the scoreboard here in the 3rd quarter, as Patterson is wide to the left side and Edwards is wide to the right. I formation behind the quarterback, Todd Hamill. Pitch it deep now. Larry Sinners tries to reverse his field. Nice play that time as the ball is fumbled and recovered. 97 for Sam Houston. Marvin Brown that time. The running back, Larry Sinners, tried to lateral the ball back to the quarterback as he was in the grass. It didn't work. Bearcats recover.
Well, you got to wonder what he was doing. The quarterback was in front of him. He can't do that.
And the referee says, yes, indeed, Bearcat football. Nice play, and I think one of the keys to that play, 53, Huey Blackman stayed at home when Sinners tried to reverse his field, held his ground, and made the nice stop on the Lumberjack tailback.
That's right, and he let the tailback come to him. He didn't try to rush the play. He waited, held his ground, watched what he was going to do, and then reacted to the play.
So the Bearcats have new life deep in Stephen F. Austin territory. Ball at the 36-yard line. Double tight end, or check it. Willis is wide to the right side with Victor Henry wide to the left. Hand the ball straight up the middle to Luther Turner. Runs into one of his own men. Credit 35. Credit the Lumberjacks linebacker that time, Bobby Henry, right side linebacker, for the tackle on Luther Turner. He will not gain no yardage on that play. So Lopez and Henry are both wide to the left side as the crowd begins to get into it here at Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches. Hand the ball off deep in the backfield. Once again, that play goes nowhere as Luther Turner is stopped for a loss of 3 yards on the play, and once again the deep pitch fails to gain yardage.
Well, it seems like after you run into a brick wall, 5 times, Rod, you'd learn not to do it. Certainly Coach Ron Reynolds got to see that play is just not going to be effective today.
Henry and Willis will both go to the left side as the Bearcats will try to work on 38 George Redmond, the strong safety, and number 30 Johnny Hendricks. Now Lewis evades the rush, looking to throw the football. He will be sacked. Good pursuit on the play by number 96 for the Lumberjacks.
Be Eric Lockie.
Up from his middle linebacking spot to make the stop, and right now the Bearcat offense looking pretty sluggish here in the 3rd quarter.
Definitely is, especially for an offense that's rated number 1 in the Southland Conference. You've really got to credit this Lumberjack defense for absolutely shutting them down.
A lot of offensive fireworks in the first half, none to speak of here in the second. That time, Bart Bradley's punt with the wind will go out of the back of the end zone. So the Lumberjacks will scrimmage 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line with 28 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. It's still Sam Houston 24, Stephen F. Austin 17.
Join host Carla Grenier for Aerobic Workout 101. Carla will introduce you to the benefits of low-impact aerobics. That's Aerobic 101 right here on Cable Channel 7, Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. In Their Time, a show featuring 6 great Americans who have influenced our country in the post-World War II era. Host Mike Nagy interviews noted scholars on the impact of these Americans, and that's Wednesday nights at 7:30.
Larry Sinners on the carry for Stephen F. Austin, tackled the play by the weak side linebacker. That's Tolly Royal, 27, senior, 3-year letterman out of Gainesville, Texas, up to make the stop. Credit Sinners with a gain of 2 yards on the play will bring up a 2nd down and 8. As the Lumberjacks will let time run out here in the 3rd quarter So that's going to do it for 3/4 of play from Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches in front of an excess of 15,000 on hand here this afternoon. After 3/4 of play, it's still Sam Houston 24, Stephen F. Austin 17.
Right in the fourth quarter, look for it to be a matter of the big play. It's not going to be somebody running down the field with a sustained drive. It's going to be a big play, whether it's a turnover or the long pass. Somebody's going to get the big play, and that's going to be the difference in this ball game.
So the Bearcats failing to capitalize late in the third period after the running back Larry Sinners fumbled the football. Bearcats unable to take advantage of that drive as they had to punt the football. And remember another important key, Dan, the Bearcats will have the wind here in the fourth quarter. And the wind is still whipping pretty good out of the south.
That's true, Rod. And one thing that I was just wondering about, this stadium is on a bowl. And the wind, granted from our position, the wind is very strong. We're very high up. But down and on the field, I think the wind would be more of a prime factor on kicks, such, the punts, the point after, and the field goals. I don't think it might play such an important role in the passing game.
So the Bearcat defense once again on the spot. The Lumberjacks have the ball when we return to action. 2nd down, 8 ball at the 22-yard line. But if it comes down to a field goal in the last few minutes or seconds of this ball game, the Bearcats would have the advantage. Billy Hayes with the 54-yarder last week with the wind at Bearcat Stadium has a pretty nice wind at his back to kick with here in the fourth quarter of this football game.
That's true. It's always good to have something like that to rely on if it in fact comes to that. But obviously, no one on the Bearcat squad hopes that it comes down to a matter of a long field goal.
So Patterson is wide to the right side. Edwards wide to the left. Play action Hamill looking to throw. Steps up into the pocket and he is sacked. 98 up from the defensive line. Mike Ober, sophomore, 1-year letterman from A-Leaf Elsik, up to make the stop, and the Bearcats getting good pressure on the Lumberjack quarterback Todd Hamill.
And Rod, credit Todd Hamill for hanging on to that ball. He had it up in the air like a loose loaf of bread. I'm surprised that he managed to hang on to it.
So the Bearcats, if they can hold here on 3rd down and 12, could end up in excellent field position, but on the last drive, they failed to hold the Lumberjacks deep in their own territory, letting them get off the hook with the long pass from Hamill to Brad Barfield. Now Hamill looking to throw again, sets up the screen as a tackle is missed, and it will be just short, I believe, of the 1st down. Nice play that time as the pass came out of the backfield to number 39, Billy Haynes, a fullback junior, 2-year letterman out of San Benito, and he is going to be just about a yard short of the 1st down, or an initial missed tackle, and that time Haynes almost got upfield for the 1st down.
That's true, but almost, as we know, only counts in certain things as horseshoes and hand grenades. It's not going to do it here, and credit that Bearcat defense.
The punter, Steve Merka, gets off a nice high punt. Fair catch is called for and taken by Billy Anderson. The Bearcats take over good field position at the 40-yard line. We have 13 minutes and 36 seconds to go in this football game, and the Bearcats are still on top, 24-17. So the Bearcat offense operating now with the wind here in the fourth quarter. Dan, you think that's going to make a difference in the offensive philosophy of Coach Ron Randleman and the Bearcats?
Well, it could make a difference in their philosophy, Rob. But with the way the Bearcats' offensive line is going, I don't see how much advantage is going to be gained by going to the air now.
The Bearcats having a little confusion on offense, get the playoff in time. Now Reggie Lewis has time to throw, has a man, that's Ricky Eggleston. Nice catch into Lumberjack territory at the 44-yard line. Tackle made on the play by 43 once again. David Whitmore up from his free safety spot to make the tackle. But Ricky Eggleston, the junior 2-year letterman from Dayton, once again makes the big catch and sets the Bearcats up in good field position. Now Willis is wide to the left side. Victor Henry wide to the right, I formation behind the quarterback Reggie Lewis. Hand the ball straight up the middle to the fullback, Daryl Montgomery. Fumbles the football, and Stephen F. Austin recovers. That time Montgomery was hit hard, did not hold on to the football, and what looked like a promising drive for Sam Houston stalls, and now that gives momentum back to Todd Hamill and the Stephen F. Austin offense.
That's right, Rod, and that's a key word right there, momentum. Momentum is going to shift greatly right here, and watch this Lumberjack offense, because when you have a turnover, when the Bearcats were threatening to score right there, you force the turnover. Now the Lumberjacks have new life, and I'm looking for them to have new spirit coming out on this series of downs.
They said Edwards and Patterson, both wide to the left side, may come out throwing here, but they are facing the wind. Now hand the ball straight up the middle. Michael Horace gets the carry. Fullback, 2-year Letterman Jr. out of Groveton, Texas. Give him 3 yards on the play and bring up 2nd down and 7. Now Patterson and Edwards are both split wide to the left side, trying to work on Meldon Mickles over here at that left cornerback spot vacated by Odie Harris. Now they will run the option, pitch it deep in the backfield. Larry Centers is corralled, and he will be brought down. Good initial surge that time by the sophomore from Houston Forest Brook, Andre Finley, up from his defensive end spot to make the tackle.
I think the Bearcat defense, they're really going to look for leadership from Andre in the second half with the absence of Weish Adams. Andre's one of the more dominant players and more pervasive players on the Bearcat defense.
He does lead the Bearcat defense in sacks on the season, and he's going to add to that team leading total this afternoon as he has got pressure on Todd Hamill all day long. Now 3rd down and 14, big play for the Bearcat defense, right up the middle as Hamill is rushed, tries to get it out, throws the ball away, and I believe it was intended for 89. Brad Barfield, the tight end, Michael Horace, the fullback, also in the area. Nice shot that time delivered by the middle linebacker, Roger Johnson. But a good defensive stand that time. The Lumberjacks will have to punt.
Very good. Yeah, you just can't say enough about the Bearcat defense right now. They are absolutely doing their job and more. The Lumberjack offense definitely coming out with good spirit, and the defense of the Bearcats still able to shut them down.
Steve Merka's punt will go out of bounds at the 39-yard line. So once again, good field position for Sam Houston. Delrich Gay lips off the field on the kick coverage as he went to block the punt. He seems to be walking fine off the field, and the Bearcats cannot afford to lose anyone in that defensive secondary, as they have already lost 3 starters in the secondary from the beginning of the season. Carl Mims, John Bryant, and Odie Harris all gone, all former starters in that defensive secondary for Sam Houston. Now the Bearcats operate 1st and 10. Hand the ball off to Luther Turner. Flags are down. I believe the Lumberjacks were offside. We'll have to wait for the indication from the referee.
Number 38, George Redmond, was indicating that somebody was drawn off by the Bearcats.
That's going to be the call. Illegal motion, Sam Houston. So a game that started out fast and furious in the first quarter with lots of offense has slowed into a defensive battle here in the second half before a homecoming crowd of 15,000 plus here at Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches. Bearcats on top 24-17.
I would think, Rod, right here, Coach Ron Reynolds surely is going to have to air this ball out.
1st and 15, ball spotted at the 34-yard line in Lumberjack territory, or chicken in Bearcat territory. Now Lewis looks to throw, now has all kinds of pressure, gets the pass. Ricky Eggleston makes the reception, turns it up the sideline, avoids a couple of tacklers inside the 20, dragged out the 15, the scrambling ability, the poise, and the nice pass. Another great play by Reggie Lewis.
And that's the exact big play that I was talking about, Rod. It's going to come down to the one big play here in the 4th quarter that's going to cap this game off. The Bearcats can get it in here for a touchdown. Certainly that's going to put a definite edge on the game, and even a field goal would be insurance, because even a touchdown then wouldn't even tie the game up for the Lumberjacks.
Reggie Lewis with 3 Lumberjacks bearing down on him deep, and he got that pass away, and it's just remarkable how sometimes when he is scrambling, he can still throw with such accuracy. Now the Bearcats, 1st and 10, 16-yard line deep, Lumberjack territory. Hand the ball off, Luther Turner inside the 10, down to the 9-yard line. Tackle made on the play, 91 for Stephen F. Austin. That's Julius Smith, the junior transfer from Texas City, up to make the stop for Stephen F. Austin. So give him a gain of 7 yards on that play. Bearcat offense really needs to push this one into the end zone. Clock runs now, 10 minutes, 12 seconds to go, 4th and final period. Hand the ball off, straight up the middle will go to Daryl Montgomery. He will be down to the 7-yard line, appears to be about a yard or maybe half a yard short of the first down. So 3rd down on the play, bring up 3rd and 1. Double tight end set now as Rob Beecham and Ricky Eggleston will both operate at the tight end spot. 3rd and 1, big play for the Bearcats here. Double tight end set, Beecham tight right, or tight left, and Eggleston tight right. Victor Henry, lone wide receiver. Pitch the ball deep in the backfield. Luther Turner gets to the goal line, spins into the end zone for the touchdown. Luther Turner from 7 yards out takes it in for another touchdown, and the Bearcats now go on top 30-17 with the extra point attempt to come.
Well, now, Rod, the way the defenses have been playing here in the second half, if it still holds true, I'd have to say this is going to be a hard road to hoe for the Lumberjacks to come back and take this game. It's been a low-scoring second half. The defense has really, with the exception of this drive, absolutely been shutting the offenses down. No points, obviously, and moreover, hardly any yardage.
Out of the hole of Bart Bradley, extra point attempt is up, and it is good. So with 9 minutes and 25 seconds left to go in this football game, your new score, Sam Houston State 31, Stephen F. Austin's Lumberjacks 17.
Exciting East Texas high school football every week here on Channel 7. Follow the Huntsville Hornets throughout the 1987 season. Highlights and interviews with Coach Clements every week on Channel 7. That's Tuesday nights at 9:30. Also, find out why over 5,000 young men and women have pledged fraternities and sororities at Sam Houston State University. Join host Chris Bianco for a look at fraternities on Cable Channel 7, Monday nights at 9:30.
And with that touchdown, Dan, 16 touchdowns on the season, a new Sam Houston State record as Luther Turner surpasses the record that he set back in 1985 of 15 touchdowns, surpasses that today with his 16th touchdown of the season.
Well, that just goes hand in hand, Rod, it's not easy to do. Obviously, nothing to gain a record like that, it's never easy. But it kind of goes hand in hand when you're playing with the #1 offense in the Southland Conference. You got to expect some kind of a record to pop up every once in a while, and certainly with a player with the abilities such as Luther Turner, it's going to be records and probably will be moreover as the season progresses.
So Jerome Heim has it teed up at the 35-yard line. Bearcats now on top by 14. And as you mentioned, the Lumberjacks are going to have a tough task ahead of them if they're going to come back in this football game, as they need to score 2 touchdowns against the wind, as the wind is still blowing pretty strongly out of the south.
I think, Rod, even a lot of the fans sense that this one is almost over, because a lot of the fans are filing out.
That kickoff will be taken deep in the end zone, now returned up to the 22-yard line. Lloyd Powell on the tackle. On the return, Larry Sinners, the running back. And you got to credit Sinners, even returning that kickoff. Larry Sinners having a great day, as he had 122 yards rushing in the first half. But credit the Bearcat defense. They have really stopped Sinners down here in the second half.
Well, they really have. Maybe it took, it just took a little while for the excitement and everything of this rivalry to, get ingrained in the defense. But the Bearcat defense really has proven to be somewhat spectacular today in shutting down the Stephen F. offense.
Now Hamill will work against the wind here in the fourth quarter. He hands the ball off. Larry Sinners hit on the play, no gain. Off the bottom of the pile for Sam Houston will be number 70, Todd Jones. Jones playing in that defensive tackle spot. He is the freshman, 5'10", 253 pounds from Houston. Now the Lumberjacks operate second down and 10. Clock runs 8:49 to play in the football game. Todd Hamill looking to throw, feeling the pressure, steps up into the pocket, has a receiver open. Nice catch across the middle. 17, Chris Edwards Jr., two-year letterman from Liberty. A nice catch that time as he stretched to get the pass from Todd Hamill.
Very fine strike, air strike by the Stephen F. Lumberjacks that time. Rod, especially after you when you come back out, bring your offense back out on the field, following up a Sam Houston score to put you down by 14 points late in the fourth quarter.
So the Lumberjacks have new life, 46-yard line. They operate first and 10. Patterson to the left side and Edwards to the right. Pass intended over here on the near sideline for Chris Edwards, incomplete. Meldon Mickles, defensive cornerback over there on that side, will bring up a second down 10 situation for Stephen F. Austin. Lumberjacks operating second and 10, ball at the 46. Draw play, Michael Horace, short yardage, maybe only back to the line of scrimmage. Nice surge in the backfield that time for Sam Houston. 63 for Sam Houston in the backfield to make the stop on the fullback, Michael Horace. We're checking 53, Huey Blackman on that last play for Sam Houston as officially no gain. Third down and 10. Now the rush, straight up the middle. Hamill steps up into the pocket, has a man, and the ball is almost intercepted. And that time, a very catchable ball across the middle for Melvin Patterson, and he just dropped that one. I think he heard footsteps by the Sam Houston defenders.
Well, it was catchable. There's no doubt about that. But very at the ball, he was extended almost all the way, and he had a little bit of a slant going on. The ball, it was a hard thrown ball, a rocket shot by quarterback Todd Hamill.
Back to punt is Steve Merka. The punt bounces, takes a Bearcat roll, and will be down at the 38-yard line. So once again, the Bearcats operate with good field position. Time becoming a factor now. With 7 minutes, 21 seconds to go in this football game, Sam Houston leads it 31-17.
And Todd, you know, when you're this late into the fourth quarter, you're trailing 14 points. The Lumberjacks of Stephen F. Austin don't have a strong passing game, but look for them to work very hard on the passing game and look for them to work on number 19, Meldon Mickles.
So the Bearcats first and 10 at the 38-yard line. The Bearcats now will go with the running play. Luther Turner bounces off, but will be hit for about a 3-yard loss on the play. 95 up for Stephen F. Austin. That's Greg Owens, a linebacker, freshman redshirt from Sulphur Springs, with a lot of help from his friends on that play. So Dan, the Bearcats now, with the clock now under 7 minutes, are probably going to be content to try to run the football a lot here, not give the Lumberjacks a chance for the interception in the big play.
That's true, but then on the other side of the coin, that the Lumberjacks have forced turnover. The fumble, a good hard hit to Montgomery. So look for him to realize, as we see here, a little bit of the air game.
Victor Henry out of bounds into Lumberjack territory. Nice call. And, you know, I said that the Bearcats will probably keep it on the ground. For the most part, they probably will, but you got to credit Coach Ron Reynolds. He's not an ultra-conservative guy. He likes to stick with what he came with, and he will continue to mix it up here late in the fourth quarter.
He will. He will mix it up a little bit, and definitely what you said, that's a very good point. Keep the ball on the ground, chew time off that clock, but still you got to go to the air every once in a while.
Those little safe passes to the backs, little swing out to Henry and Willis, and run the football. Now the handoff goes up the middle to James Shorts. Shorts is the junior tailback, one-year letterman from Huntsville, Texas, has checked into the backfield in the fullback position, replacing Darryl Montgomery. So the clock runs now, 6 minutes, 17 seconds to go in this football game, and the Bearcats trying to grind it out and use as much time as possible off that clock. Gain of 3 yards on the last carry by James Shorts. Now pitch it deep in the backfield. Reverse, Victor Henry needs a block, gets it, gets up through the hole. Nice shoestring tackle that time by number 33 for Stephen F. Austin. That's Carl Joyner, a linebacker, up to just knock him down. But a good gain on the play, up across the 40-yard line to about the 37, is going to bring up about a 3rd and a long one for the Bearcats. But more importantly, keeps that clock running. Bearcats pick up a first down here. That's another 2 minutes or so that they can work off the clock.
Definitely. Big play right here for the Bearcats. If they get the first down right here, it's almost sealed.
Now the Bearcats are signaling that the initial contact was by the Lumberjack defense. And that will be the call against Stephen F. Austin, offsides. So advance the ball 5 yards. Bearcats pick up a first down. A crucial penalty that time. It keeps the drive alive. Bearcats will continue to move the ball and run time off that clock.
And as you know, you said earlier, right now they are in field goal range. So even if they stall out right here, they still can conceivably get the 3 points. And if they keep the drive going, then that just eats up time on the clock, and they can still punch it through for a field goal.
James Shorts on the carry, tackled on the play by 91 Julius Smith Jr., transfer from Texas City. He only gains a yard on the play, or credit him with 2 yards on the gain, will bring up 2nd down and 8. Clock becoming a friend of the Bearcats right now, as a lot of the 15,000 that were here earlier in the afternoon are starting to file out of Homer Bryce Stadium. Bearcats operate, 2nd down 8, ball at the 30-yard line. Play action, Reggie Lewis looking to throw, steps up into the pocket and will be sacked. Nice pursuit that time by number 40 for Stephen F. Austin. That's Brian Littlefield, a defensive end freshman redshirt from Clear Lake, up to make the stop on Reggie Lewis, as Lewis that time once again had nowhere to throw the football.
Well, if there's any fault in this game, or let me take that back, not fault, but if there's any weak spot, any flaw in the Bearcats' performance today, you've got to say that it was in the offensive line, Rob, because Reggie Lewis has been doing a remarkable job getting what passes off that he could, getting out of the pocket, scrambling for the yards he's gotten, and the backs have really earned every little inch that they've gained today.
Now
on the
Reggie
ground.
Lewis will turn the pitch upfield, now has some room in front, breaks into the secondary down inside the 10-yard line. Busted play. You've mentioned it time and time again. Reggie Lewis, the great one at turning a busted play into a big play. He did it just then.
That's right, Rod, and you know that's something that's not. You know, you can't look over there on the Lumberjack sideline and see Coach Hess with a look of surprisement on his face. He knew that was. He's the one that said that Reggie Lewis is the most dangerous when the design play breaks down.
Yeah, the Bearcat, you were mentioning the problems in the offensive line. Remember, Troy Coots and Jeff Kirby, both starting last week, are not in the football game. So the Bearcat offensive line, as Luther Turner carries for about 3 yards, that offensive line for Sam Houston has had some injuries. There's some key people not playing in there today, and that may be part of the problem that you talked about with the lack of pass protection for Reggie Lewis.
That's right. You know, you can't sit here and, blame, say, gosh, why can't these guys get their block? The guys have not had that much playing time this year, and when you're in there for a replacement, you just got to get out there and do what you can do on based on the playing time that you've had. So don't downplay the Bearcat offensive line, but it has been the flaw nonetheless.
Handoff up the middle for about 3 yards will go to Daryl Montgomery, the fullback. Hammers it down to the 5-yard line, but now the Bearcats are faced with 3rd down and goal from the 5. Tim Rohn checks in at a wide receiver for Sam Houston. He is a 5'8", 160-pound freshman from Big Sandy, Texas. Now the Bearcats, a big play for them as the clock winds down. Really at this point, Dan, 2 minutes to go in the football game. Really do not need the touchdown as much as they need to hold on to the football. Reggie Lewis fumbles the football, And it is recovered by Stephen F. Austin.
Well, you know, earlier, Rod, we said the big plays. That could have if that had come earlier on the last drive by the Bearcats, that would have been a big play. But right now, sure, they get the turnover. The Bearcats are denied the chance even for the field goal now. But they're up by 14 points, as you said. Well, now there's not even 2 minutes left. We're down to 157, and with all probability, the Lumberjacks can't come back out here and score 14 points with 1 minute and 57 seconds left.
So Todd Hamill now looking to air it out, tries to set up the screen pass, has his man out across the 20, close to a first down. Billy Haynes, the junior two-year letterman from San Benito, on the carry or on the catch.
And there's a flag on the play, Rod, and I think, not sure, but I think it may be a late hit by the Bearcats.
Initial indication, personal foul, 15 yards against the Bearcats. And at this point in the football game, that's not the way you want to let the Lumberjacks move the football, is down the field on penalties. Make them earn what they can get right here. And now the Lumberjacks go with a whole host of receivers as Larry Centers and Edwards are both to the right side now. Edwards comes in motion back to the far side as Hamill drops straight in the back of the pocket to throw. Avoids a couple of tacklers, wings it out, and the ball is almost picked off by Billy Anderson, and now flags fly everywhere. And we'll get the call from the referee. An eligible man downfield is the call against Stephen F. Austin. The Bearcats will accept the penalty, move the Lumberjacks back. And now they will be faced with a 1st and 15. One minute, 27 seconds to go in this football game. Bearcats leading at 31-17 over Stephen F. Austin. Todd Hamill drops straight back in the pocket, looking to swing it out. Has his man once again hit on the play nicely and corralled over on the far sideline. Once again, Billy Haynes is the receiver. Nice play that time as Malcolm Royal comes up from his free safety spot to finish off Billy Haynes.
You know, Rod, that was the same play that the Lumberjacks used last time when they were almost in the same spot on the field. They set up the screen, one missed tackle, and then big gain on the play. But the Bearcats certainly saying nothing doing this time. You got us on it last time. We're going to shut you down on this one.
Hamill once again trying to step out of pressure. Now lets it fly long. Billy Anderson almost picks the ball up, and the ball still almost fell into the hands of Lloyd Powell, who was back playing center field for the Bearcats on that play. Pass intended to the tight end, Brad Barfield, on that play. Clock stopped with only 43 seconds to go.
Well, Rod, I think at this point it's safe to say that this one is in the books.
Edwards is wide to the right side as Patterson is wide to the left. Now Hamill back to throws, getting pressure, wings it out, pass is complete to the tight end, Brad Barfield. Coverage on the play by Brandon Senda for the linebacker. That's going to move the ball up to the 37-yard line. Clock is still running, 25 seconds to go in the football game. Lumberjacks still have 2 timeouts left, but are not using them at this point. Now clock down to 10 seconds. Todd Hamill steps out of the pocket. Now will run the football, turn it upfield, and will be knocked down. Fumbles the football. Nice hit on the play by Billy Anderson, but that's going to be it. The final play as Hamill scrambles out. With your final score from Homer Bryce Stadium, Bearcats win at 31-17. Any final comments from you, Dan?
Yes, Rod. The first half of this game, we saw 2 teams come out here very pumped up, very excited for this game. Offense is striking very well. The Lumberjacks came up on their first possession, moved it down, scored, put 7 points on the board. Bearcats come down, put 3 points on the board, and it was just a back and forth battle between the offenses in this first half. Second half, they come out, nothing doing. Offenses of both teams are shut down by the defense. It turned out to be a battle of defense, and as I said earlier in the second half, that it was going to be a matter of the big play. The Bearcats had the big play, and as a result, the Bearcats win it.
So, the Bearcat offense getting it done in the first half, Bearcat defense getting it done without Leish Adams in the second half. Defense really played good in the second half, and I believe that's the key as they shut the Lumberjacks out in the second half. Don't forget, the Bearcats will be in action coming on Saturday at Bearcat Stadium as they take on the Leathernecks of Western Illinois. So, from Homer Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches, for your final score, Sam Houston, 31, Stephen F. Austin, 17. For Dan Bonner, I'm Rod Sydlik, saying so long.